A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio. A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Portions of the following program are transcribed.
The Kraft Foods Company presents Willard Waterman as the Great Gildersleeve. The Great Gildersleeve is brought to you by the Kraft Foods Company. Kraft, you know, has been famous for years for bringing you the very finest foods, quality foods, the world's favorite varieties of cheese, America's choice in salad dressings, and many other wonderful things to eat. When you shop, look for the name Kraft. Remember, the name Kraft on any food is your guarantee of quality. It's a crisp, cold night in Summerfield. Here and there, a lighted Christmas tree glows warmly in a window. Holly wreaths have begun to appear. The ground is white with new snow, and it's still falling. Big, fat flakes that cling to the porches and the trees and to the brim of the Great Gildersleeve's hat as he hurries down his front steps. Makes a cautious turn as he reaches the sidewalk. Then strides gaily up the street toward Catherine Milford's house.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. What?
Wait for me! Where you going, Unc?
Well, I'm dropping in at Miss Milford's for a while this evening.
Can I walk with you? I'm going to Piggy's house. They're putting up that tree tonight. We're going to decorate it.
Well, good. Don't stand on the furniture.
You going to help Nurse Milford decorate her tree?
Yeah, you can't tell. We may string a few cranberries, drape the icicles around.
What if Dr. Olson is there?
Leroy, don't worry about Dr. Olson.
Oh, I'm not. But you said he was a pain in the neck. You said he was always hanging around her house when you wanted to be there.
Yeah, well, you weren't supposed to have heard that. But that used to be that way.
How is it now?
Leroy, the nurse has decided she doesn't need a doctor as much as she needs a water commissioner. The fact is, I haven't seen Dr. Clarence Olson in weeks.
Gee, then you're winning, aren't you, Unc?
You bet I'm winning.
Golly, you got to be smart to be the doctor, too.
You said it.
Gee, and you're my uncle.
Yeah.
Well, here's Piggy's house. See you later, Unc.
Yeah, see you later, Leroy. Yes, sir, there's a mighty fine boy.
Throckmorton.
Hello, Catherine.
Come on in. Why, it's snowing out, isn't it?
Yeah, just a little.
Look at you. You have a big snowflake right on the end of your nose.
Yeah, I do? Well, cold nose, warm heart.
Let me take your coat.
Thank you. Well, beautiful tree, Catherine. And Christmas presents. Are all those for me?
No, but you can help me finish wrapping them.
Fine. Lots of presents.
Well, Mother and I have lots of relatives.
Yeah, sure.
Then I couldn't forget those darling children down at the hospital.
Yeah?
There are 5 of them that Santa Claus may not remember.
Well, good for you, Captain. Be a shame if any little kiddies were forgotten on Christmas.
Here, put your finger on this ribbon while I tie the knot, huh?
Yeah, all right. Interesting paper you're using, Catherine. Mistletoe design.
Just put the package over there.
No, I think I'll balance it right on top of your head.
Throckmorton.
You know what that means? Mistletoe.
Oh, aren't you rushing the season a little?
Only 3 more shopping days.
You better put the package down there by the tree.
Shucks. Say, here's a fancy-looking package.
Oh, I think that's the one Mother's giving me.
Your mother couldn't wait, huh? Let me shake this. I'll bet I can guess what's in it.
Now, Throckmorton.
Yep. Card fell off.
Oh, dear.
Well, isn't that just like your mother? To the dearest girl in the world, Clarence. Clarence!
Throckmorton, give me the package. That one isn't for Mother.
No, I guess not. Dr. Clarence Olson, the intern, huh? I thought he'd given up.
Clarence has been on night duty at the hospital.
Well, just so he hasn't been on night duty with my nurse.
Well, he hasn't forgotten me. I can hardly wait to open his present. He always thinks of the most original things.
Well, I haven't brought you my present yet. I'm liable to think of something pretty original, too.
Really? Give me a hint.
Hint? Well...
At the hospital, Clarence keeps teasing me about what's in this package.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. All he'll tell me is that it starts with a K for Catherine. Isn't that clever?
Well, I guess there's a fine line between being clever and being corny.
Throckmorton, he's very ingenious. In fact, the mistletoe paper was his idea.
It was?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it may have been his idea. But I was the first one who thought of holding it over your head. I think. You're coming, Bertie, coming. I wonder what Catherine is getting from that doctor. There's the clever cut-up. I'll have to go him one better.
Good morning, Unky. Hiya.
Good morning, children. Elijah, what Christmas present can you think of that start with the letter K?
K? Well, who's the present for, Unc? A little kid we know spelled K-I-D?
Hardly, Leroy. I was thinking about something for a young lady.
Oh, you mean me?
We'll get around to you children later. There's a present under Miss Milford's tree. It starts with a K. I'm trying to figure out what it is.
Uh-huh.
Leroy, what do you mean, ah-ha?
It's Miss Milford's present from Dr. Olson, isn't it?
Well, yes.
Well, if it's from Dr. Olson, why do you want to know what it is, Unky?
Well, I don't want to give her the same present, Marjorie. I'd like to give her something a little better.
Well, if it starts with a K, maybe it's a Kodak.
No, it's a pretty big package.
Canary?
I don't think it's anything alive, Leroy. And as I recall, canary doesn't start with a K.
Like some hot coffee, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Yeah, thank you, Bertie.
Bertie, we're trying to think of some gift a woman would like starting with a K.
Any ideas, Bertie?
Well, if it's for a woman, maybe it's something for the kitchen.
Yeah, I can't think of anything for the kitchen that starts with a K. Except Kraft cheese.
Well, I can't think of anything.
Maybe it's kisses, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Kisses?
The candy type. You know, candy kisses, that's the paper.
Oh, my goodness. Dr. Olson. I wish I'd have thought of giving her something starting with a K for Catherine. Let's see. K. Carrot? You could be giving her a diamond. You wouldn't dare. Kettle drums? Kilts? Yeah, you wouldn't give her those. She'd look cute in them, though.
Well, good morning, Gilda.
Well, the Honorable Judge Hooker. Good morning, Horace.
You were walking along with a faraway look in your eye, dreaming of a white Christmas.
You old goat. Yeah, I'm trying to get an idea about a Christmas present for Miss Milford, Horace.
Oh? Well, I came down to hear the Craft Choral Club. They're going to sing around the community Christmas tree here in the square.
Oh, yes. Well, let's get a little closer. I've been so worried about Catherine's Christmas present, I almost forgot they were in town.
They came all the way from Chicago, Gilda.
Yeah, I know, Judge. Say, there are a lot of them. You wonder who makes the cheese while they're on tour.
Shh. about to sing.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this Christmas season, it is our pleasure to present the Kraft Choral Club under the direction of Gerhard Schrode.
He came upon the midnight clear, that glorious song of old. From angels bending near the earth to touch their hearts untold. Because the earth was willed to men from their gracious peace. The world is short and still the strange to hear the angels sing. Still through the golden sky they come with peaceful wings of birth, and still their heavenly music flows o'er all the weary world. Above the sad and lonely plains they head a hovering breeze, and ever rolling halo comes the blessed angels sing. Sing on the earth goodwill to men from heaven's gracious peace. Rest beside the weary road and hear the angels sing.
My, Gildy. They're magnificent.
Yeah, they're great, all right, Horace. Great. I think I'll try find something for Catherine in a hurry and come back.
I'll wait here, Gildy. In fact, I may go up and sing with them.
You please, not that, Judge. They didn't come all the way from Chicago to find the lost discord.
Now, Gildy. Wait a minute. They're going to sing again. Yes, it's beautiful. Nothing like the carols of this time of year. They warm the cockles of my heart and send the Yuletide spirit coursing through my veins.
Horace.
Great Gildersleeve continues his search for a Christmas present in just a moment. Again, this year, as the holiday season approaches, the makers of Kraft Quality Foods wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. During the year now drawing to a close, we have appreciated the confidence you have shown through your purchases in all the fine food products which your grocer has brought to you from Kraft. You may be sure that Kraft products will continue to merit your confidence in the future as they have in the past, and that the name Kraft on any label will continue to be your guide to the very finest in foods. Again, we say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to each one of you from all the men and women of Kraft. Now, back to the Great Gildersleeve. Well, as has a fancy Christmas package under the tree at Catherine Milford's house from Gildersleeve's rival, Dr. Olson. What's in it? That's what the water commissioner would like to know.
Whatever it is, I'll get her something better. He may have the edge on me at the hospital, but by George, I'll beat him under the Christmas tree. I'll go all out. Hello, Petey.
Well, hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. What can I do for you this afternoon?
I'm looking for a Christmas present, Petey. For a lady. Something extra special.
Gift for Miss Milford, is it?
You bet. That sneaky Dr. Olson bought her something that looks pretty nice. But I'm going to go in one better. I'm going to get her something so beautiful and so clever it'll make him look silly.
My.
Any suggestions, Petey?
Well, what does she like? Has she dropped any hints?
Not lately. All she talks about is those little kids she takes care of at the hospital. There must be something clever and original I could get for her, Petey.
Now, how about a subscription to Look magazine?
Well...
Or how about a nice set of scales? Women like to weigh themselves, you know.
She can weigh herself at the hospital, Petey.
Does she like sweetmeats?
Sweetmeats?
We have some very attractive boxes of candied prunes. Quite healthful, too.
No, Petey.
Well, how about some nice musical bath salts?
No.
Then a ballpoint pen?
No.
Mr. Gildersleeve, you're rather hard to please.
Yoffers. Petey, I've got to get something different. Something original. Now, you've had plenty of experience at this Christmas thing.
That's true.
You've been buying Christmas presents for Mrs. Peavy for 20 years.
Yes, I have.
Well, certainly after all that time, a man should know what it takes to please a woman.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, my goodness. I can see you're going to be no help at all, Peavy. I'm going over to Hogan Brothers.
That's a good idea. Happy shopping, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Happy shopping. What a mob in these stores. Why does everybody wait till the last minute to buy priceless? Oop! You watch that umbrella, lady.
Second floor. Phonographs, radios, toys.
Out on two, please. You might get her a radio. No, everybody has a radio. Have to be more original than that if I'm going to beat that slick intern. Christmas won't mean a thing to me unless I outdo him. Well, cute toys up here.
Is that you, Miss Gildersleeve?
Well, hello, Bertie. What are you doing up here in the toys?
Oh, I got a lot of little nieces and nephews I have to buy for.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have much, so when I show up every Christmas with my arms full of toys, they think I'm some pumpkin.
Yeah, I'll bet they do, Bertie. Say, what if I showed up with an armful of toys for those kiddies at the hospital? The ones Miss Milford is so fond of.
Them children would think you're some pumpkins too, Miss Gildersleeve.
Well, I guess they would. What's more, I'd be some pumpkins with Miss Milford, too.
Yes, sir.
You bet. Nothing I could do that would impress her more. Right, George, this is a great idea we had, Bertie. Click, I want to buy some toys. Dr. Olson can never top this. I'll walk in on Catherine, pass out these toys to her little kiddies, and tell her this is my Christmas present to her. What can she say? Except that I'm the greatest guy in the world. And the kids will get a kick out of it, too. Intern, turn in your suit. You're through. Yeah, this must be the ward. I see some children. Well, hello, little children. Hello. Where's Miss Milford?
She'll be back. She wants to get our orange juice.
Well, I'll just put these packages down and wait.
Are you Santa Claus?
Me?
No, he's not Santa Claus. He hasn't got a white beard. But he's nice and fat. Yeah, but he's not Santa Claus. Santa Claus never comes around here.
Now, wait a minute, young fellow. I'm sort of a Santa Claus. I brought all these presents to you children.
For us? Honest and truly? Oh, boy! You see, Stuffy, he is Santa Claus.
Oh, boy, I gotta come over and see him.
Stuffy's lucky. He's in a wheelchair.
Oh. Well, I'll bring the presents around to your little beds when Nurse Milford comes.
I want to open mine.
No, wait a minute, Stuffy. You shouldn't open presents until Christmas.
I don't want to open mine until Christmas. I just want to dream about what's in them.
Yeah, that's the idea, little girl.
While we're waiting for Nurse Milford, will you read us a Christmas story?
Christmas story?
That's what she was doing.
Yeah, they're in that book.
Well, I like stories. I used to read them to my niece and nephew. Let's see what we have here. Yeah. Oh. Why the Chimes Rang by Raymond MacDonald Alvin.
I like that one.
I don't know it.
Well, I've been in the hospital longer than you have.
Well, let's read it. We don't have much time. Once upon a time, in a faraway country, there was a wonderful church. It stood on a high hill in the midst of a great city. And every Sunday, as well as on sacred days like Christmas, thousands of people climbed the hill to its great archways, looking like lines of ants, all moving in the same direction.
They don't allow ants in the hospital.
Stop interrupting, Stuffy.
Yes, you must listen, Stuffy. Now, all the people knew that at the top of the tower was a chime of Christmas bells. They'd hung there ever since the church had been built, and were the most beautiful bells in the world. Some described them as sounding like angels, far up in the sky. Others as sounding like strange winds singing through the trees. But for many years, they had never been heard.
Why didn't the bells ring?
Well, we're coming to that. It was said that people had been growing less careful of their gifts for the Christ child, and that no offering was brought which was fine enough to deserve the music of the chimes. Every Christmas Eve, people still crowded to the altar, each one trying to bring some gift better than any other.
Why'd you do that?
Well, for personal reasons, I guess. They were trying to make a big impression.
Oh.
Now, where were we? Oh, yes. Now, a number of miles from the city, in a little country village, lived a boy named Pedro and his little brother. They'd heard of the service in the church on Christmas Eve and planned to go see the beautiful celebration. Nobody can guess, little brother, Pedro would say, all the fine things there are to see and hear. And I have even heard it said that the Christ child sometimes come down to bless the service. What if we could see him? The day before Christmas, Pedro and little brother were able to slip quietly away. And although the walking was hard in the frosty air, before nightfall, they had trudged so far, hand in hand, that they saw the lights of the big city just ahead of them. They were about to enter one of the great gates in the wall that surrounded it when they saw something dark on the snow near their path and stepped aside to look at it.
What was it?
Well, let's see. And there, by the path, was a poor woman who had fallen in the snow, too sick and tired to get in where she might have found shelter.
Oh.
And Pedro knelt down beside her. You will have to go on alone, little brother, he said. Alone? Cried little brother. But you will not see the Christmas festival. No, said Pedro, and he could not keep back a bit of a choking sound in his throat. See this poor woman. Her face looks like the Madonna in the chapel window. And she will freeze to death if nobody cares for her. But I cannot bear to leave you and go on alone, said little brother. Both of us need not miss the service, said Pedro. And it had better be I than you. You can easily find your way to the church. And you must see and hear everything twice, little brother. Once for you, and once for me. And oh, if you get a chance, little brother, to slip up to the altar without getting in anyone's way, take this little silver piece of mine and lay it down for my offering when no one is looking. In this way, he hurried little brother off to the city and winked hard to keep back the tears as he heard the crunching footsteps sounding farther and farther away in the twilight. The great church was wonderful that night. When the organ played and the thousands of people sang, the walls shook with the sound. And little Pedro, way outside the city wall, felt the earth tremble around him. At the close of the service came the procession with the offerings to be laid on the altar. Rich men and great men marched proudly up to lay down their gifts to the Christ child. Some brought wonderful jewels. Some brought baskets of gold. But the chimes did not ring. And last of all came the king of the country, hoping with all the rest to win for himself the chime of the Christmas bells. There went a great murmur through the church as the people saw the king take from his head the royal crown, all set with precious stones, and lay it gleaming on the altar as his offering to the Holy Child. Surely, everyone said, surely we shall hear the bells now, for nothing like this has ever happened before. But still, only the cold old wind was heard in the tower, and the people shook their heads. And some of them said, as they had said before, that they never really believed the story of the chimes, and doubted if they ever rang at all. Suddenly, everyone looked at the old minister, who was standing by the altar, holding up his hand for silence. Not a sound could be heard from anyone in the church. But as all the people strained their ears to listen, there came softly, but distinctly, swinging through the air, the sound of the chimes in the tower. So far away, and yet so clear the music seemed. So much sweeter were the notes than anything that had been heard before, rising and falling away up there in the sky, that the people in the church sat for a moment, as still as though something held each of them by the shoulders. Then they all stood up together and stared straight at the altar to see what great gift had awakened the long silent bells. But all that the nearest of them saw was the childish figure of little brother, who had crept softly down the aisle when no one was looking, and had laid Pedro's little piece of silver on the altar.
That was a wonderful story. Why did the bells ring when little brother laid the piece of silver on the altar?
Well...
Why didn't they ring when the great men brought jewels and things?
Well, like the book said, each one was trying to bring some gift better than any other. Those men were trying to outdo each other. What little Pedro gave out of the goodness of his heart. He didn't have any ulterior motive.
What's an ulterior motive?
Well, I guess that's what I had when I came here.
That's Miss Milford coming.
It is?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll be going.
Aren't you going to wait and see our nurse? Where are you going, mister?
Well, I think I'll sneak out this side door.
But how'll she know who brought the presents?
Well, that's not important anymore. Merry Christmas.
Thanks. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
I'll tiptoe down the back steps. Well, 5 o'clock. I didn't know the hospital had chimes.
Portions of the preceding program were transcribed. It's Groucho Marx and You Bet Your Life on NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is floor. Floor.
Really?
You bet your life. The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only... Groucho!
That's me, Groucho Marx. Well, here I am again with $2,000 for one of our couples. Penniman, who's supposed to try for it?
Well, a male girl and a truck driver, Groucho. They were selected by our studio audience just before we went on the air. And their names are Diane Strumwasser and John Ryan. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers, and if you say the secret word, you'll divide $100 in cash. It's a common word, something you see every day. Diane Strumwasser and John Ryan. Where are you from, Diane?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles? Born here?
Downtown Los Angeles.
Huh?
Downtown Los Angeles.
Downtown. Well, that's the outskirts, huh? And, John, you're wearing outskirts. No. John Ryan, you're the truck driver? Well, that's a good name for a truck driver. Where are you from, John?
I'm from the Columbine State.
Where?
Columbine State. Colorado.
State. Are you married?
No.
Why not?
Gosh, we never stay in one place long enough to really meet anyone, to know them well enough to get married.
What about you, Diane? Are you married?
No, sir.
Would you like to be?
Yes, of course.
May I ask one question?
Yes.
Why? Have you a nickname, Diane?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Stromboli.
Stromboli? I must order that the next time I go to an Italian restaurant. Why Stromboli, Diane?
Well, that's what my section head, Papa Bull, calls me.
I beg your pardon?
That's what my section head, Papa Bull, calls me.
That's what your section head, Papa Bull, calls? Mm-hmm. You'll have to break that down, every word of it. I don't understand. What is the section head and what is a Papa Bull?
Well, you see, I work at Prudential.
Prudential, the insurance company?
Yes, See? And we have section heads. And one of them, his name is Bart Van Oostendorf. So we call him Papa Bull.
Why?
That's a good
what
question.
Has Van Oostendorf got to do with Papa Bull, huh?
Really nothing.
Nothing, huh? How old are you, Stromboli?
22.
And you, John?
I'm 28.
Well, you're the right age for each other. Where do you work?
Prudential Life Insurance.
What do you want me to call you, Diane or Stromboli?
Diane will be fine.
You work for the Prudential Life Insurance Company? Well, what is your policy with men my age?
You'll have to take that up with Mr. Russell. He's the head of the new policy division.
Well, let's forget it. What do you do as an insurance at the insurance company?
Well, I'm a tripper.
You're a tripper?
Mm-hmm.
You mean you stand out on the sidewalk and trip people? So one of your insurance men can slip them a policy? What is a tripper, Stromboli?
Well, I deliver mail and telegrams and inter-office communications.
Well, why do they call you a tripper?
Because I take trips on the 4th floor.
Well, Diane, you said the secret word, and you and John split $100 between you.
Thank you.
Isn't that nice? Aren't you glad you're a tripper now, huh? John, who do you work for?
I'm at the Red Ball Transfer and Storage Company.
Oh, the Red Ball Express, oh, the Red Ball Express. What do you haul in your truck, John?
We haul furniture.
And where do you drive your truck?
We drive just anywhere.
Anywhere?
Anywhere.
Have you ever driven it to Honolulu? You better be more specific. As a matter of fact, Honolulu's in the Pacific. how often do you drive your truck fully loaded?
Gosh, as often as we...
That's the kind of questions I have, huh? Require no answer at all. Are you insured, John?
Yes, we're insured.
Well, that's very wise. Suppose you were married to Diane. Would you want her to be insured?
Certainly.
How much insurance do you think a man ought to have on his wife?
$4,000 or $5,000.
How much insurance do you have on your truck?
Gee, overall we have about $170,000.
Let's get this straight. You would insure your wife for $5,000, your truck for $170,000. Diane, my advice to you is to get 16 wheels, a diesel motor, and have your oil changed every 1,000 miles. Well, you make a very cute couple, and if I ever want to send a message, I'll hire John's truck. Now, in just a minute, you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at the $2,000. Right now, I want you to listen carefully to what Fenneman has to say.
Well, the winter months are here now. You should have gotten your car ready for whatever the weather has in store for us. It's very important to have that family car of yours starting quickly and running smoothly these days. This is why so many motorists have already driven into a DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Others come in primarily because of the two great cars which DeSoto Plymouth dealers are so proud to handle. The magnificent DeSoto is a big car with big car advantages, yet it handles like a dream. Stops on a dime thanks to those big, big brakes. Gives more miles per gallon than you ever thought possible from a large, power-packed car. And, of course, DeSoto lets you drive without shifting. And as for value, you'll be amazed how far your dollars go today when you buy a brand new DeSoto. Remember, too, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, a car that you'll want to compare. So look for those two great names linked together. DeSoto, Plymouth.
Now, let's see if you two will get a chance at the $2,000. Fenneman, explain the rules.
All right.
Rules with your customary charm.
Each of our three couples has $20. We bet as much of that $20 as they want in each of 4 questions. And the couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the big question at the end of the show. Big question tonight is worth $2,000.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected Name the Song. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
$10?
Yeah, betting, yes. $10. Is that all right, John?
$10
okay.
is fine.
Here we go. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam and the deer and the antelope play.
Home on the Range.
Home on the Range is right.
And you're on your way. You have $30.
Even I knew the answer to that. All right, remember you're going for $2,000 tonight. Now, how much you're going to bet? How much of the 30?
Shall we bet 20?
Okay. How dear to my heart are the scenes of my childhood. With fond recollections, present them to view.
The old oaken bucket.
The old oaken bucket is right.
Really finding now you have $50.
Well, you got $50. Here's your third question. How much will you bet?
What do we have?
35.
Talk up, kids. Right.
35, 40?
How much are you going to bet?
40? 40.
$40. Okay. Daisy, Daisy, give bicycle milk for 2.
I have $90.
Give me a chance. I don't know if I can get a chance to sing like this. I only had one wheel of that bicycle to have the answer. I was going to have a joke about wheeling, but never mind. Here we go. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. You have $90. How much of the 90 are you going to bet?
What do you want, 80 or all of it?
80.
$80, all right. For this valley, they say you are going... How does that go?
What are the words?
Yeah. I don't know this song. This song only came out 12 years ago. I don't know.
From this valley,
they say you are going... Red River Valley.
I'm glad they do it.
That was wonderful, Diane. Put it there, kid. Put it there, John.
And you people wind up with a grand total of $170.
That really requires an ear for music if they can decode it the way we sang it. Thanks and Merry Christmas from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
Well, Doctor, the secret word is still floor. Just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected a door-to-door salesman. This is Mr. Frank Santos over here. And his partner is a housewife from the studio audience, Mrs. Peggy Marshall. Folks, I'd like you to meet Groucho Marx.
Well, welcome to You Bet Your Life, folks. And if you say the secret word, you'll split $100. It's a common word, something you see every day. Now, let's see. Your name is Peggy Marshall, and this is Frank Santos, huh?
Right.
Where are you from, Frank?
I'm from Ripon, California.
Where?
Ripon, California.
Ripon?
Right.
Where is Ripon?
That is north of Modesto, about 10 miles.
And where is Modesto? And Peggy Marshall, where are you from, Peggy?
Originally, I'm from Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn?
Mm-hmm.
And where's Brooklyn?
Well, it's not in Texas.
There is a Brooklyn in Texas.
Well, this Brooklyn is part of New York.
I see. So you're a housewife. What kind of a house are you married to? A rambling two-story type?
No, husband.
Oh, you're married to a husband. Well, I've known rambling two-story husbands. However, that's another story, huh? Now, what sort of work does your husband do?
He's a salesman in a watch concern.
Oh.
Swan Watch Company.
And how did you meet him?
I met him at a Halloween dance. I was standing around waiting to be asked to dance, and
you were standing around waiting?
Well, I looked different when I was younger. Marriage aged me.
Apparently, it's improved you, too.
Well, anyways, along came this horse, and
along came this horse?
Yes. Well, it was a Halloween dance.
Oh, I see. Well, they usually have a horse at a Halloween dance. And he asked you for a dance?
Yes. And I was a little confused because I never danced with a horse before.
He took the bit right in his teeth and asked you for a dance, huh?
Well,
he was just sowing his wild oats, I guess, huh? What kind of a horse was it, a Palomino?
No, it was a black and white horse, and the fellow that impressed me the most was the one that was at the back end. Well, there were two
I see.
He'll never forgive me for this.
Mr. Santos, huh?
That's right.
You're a house-to-house salesman. Who do you work for, Frank?
Jewel Tea Company.
The Jewel, and what do you do for them?
Well, we sell coffee and household articles.
In other words, you're a door-to-door salesman, huh?
Yes.
Well, when the husband comes to the front door, you go out the back door, is that
That's
it?
right.
Well, that can be fun. Now, tell us some more about your business. What's your most popular item?
Coffee.
Why is that?
Well, coffee is perhaps the most popular beverage, and our coffee is roasted and ground fresh.
Let's see. Now, Peggy, do you think if you made bad coffee for your husband, that'd be grounds for divorce?
No, but what I did tonight will be.
That's an old joke, but then who isn't, huh? What did you do tonight, Peggy?
The way I described him, I didn't mean it that way.
Oh, I don't think he's going to take offense to that. He knows that you were only fooling. In a Halloween party, people dress in all kinds of curious and queer costumes. Look at the outfit I've got on. How many different items do you carry in this
carry about 400.
Buggy of yours? Huh?
About 400.
How do you carry so many items from door to door?
Well, we carry them in a ton walk-in truck.
A walk-in truck? You mean your truck walks right into people's houses? What is your truck like?
Well, it has shelves in it, and inside the truck we have groceries and household articles, and the customers can walk right in and look at it if they wish.
Mm-hmm. How do your customers feel about walking into your truck?
They like it.
Is that so? Last time I walked into a truck, I spent 4 months in the hospital. How do you get new customers, Frank?
By soliciting.
Soliciting?
By soliciting.
Well, let's hear how you sell Mrs. Marshall here. How would you approach her? Go ahead.
How do you do? I'm Mr. Sanders with Jewel Tea Company.
Certainly left her cold. Now, can you tell a good prospect from the outside of the house, Frank?
Yes, I can. Well, if you're going by a house and you see in the backyard, you see on the line perhaps a long nightgown, you could imagine that some old maid lived there.
You still think that old maids wear nightgowns, huh?
Yeah, probably do.
Frank, you're living in a fool's paradise. Now, if you went by Peggy's house, could you tell her age by the kind of pajamas on her clothesline?
Oh, it'd probably come close.
Not if her husband's home. Peggy, do you agree with him? Could he tell your age by your pajamas?
No,
Why not?
I don't wear pajamas.
Well, that's a pretty raw statement. How did we ever get into this conversation? A minute ago, we were discussing coffee. Well, you're an interesting couple, and Frank, if you knock on my door, just remember, the man of the house isn't home. Now then, we're going to play You Bet Your Life. Let's see how well you make out in the race with the $2,000. You've got to run your $20 into more than our other couple. I can't tell you how much our first couple won, but Fenham is going to remind our listeners.
The mail girl and the truck driver won $170.
Now, let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected motion picture trademarks. Here's your first question. How much of the $20 will you risk?
10?
$10, that's a good, safe beginning. What motion picture company is identified by a roaring lion?
MGM.
MGM is right. And we're on the way. We have $30. Remember, you're going for $2,000 tonight. Now, how much of the 30 are you going to try?
30.
30.
What company uses a revolving globe as its trademark?
Would that be,
Warner Brothers.
no, Columbia?
No,
RKO.
no. I'm sorry. It's Universal International. Now you're broke.
Well, we were not going to let them go home broke. I just happened to have...
Not. We cannot let them go home without any money. I'll give you one more question, and if you get it right, you'll win $10. Who was buried in Grant's tomb? General Grant is right. I told you that, huh? So long, Frank. Thanks, and Merry Christmas from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
Groucho, the secret word is still floor. We invited some men from a winery and some women from a public steam bath to the program tonight. And just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected masseuse Karen Epperman. Her partner is Mr. Rome Cook, and here they are. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, folks, to You Bet Your Life. And if you say the secret word, you'll divide $100 between you. It's a common word, something you see every day. Karen Epperman, is that right?
Epperman.
Epperman, huh? Yes. And a man from Rome, Rome Cook?
That's right.
That's your name, huh? Yeah, Karen, how do you pronounce it, Karen?
Karen?
Karen. What kind of a name is that?
It is from a Swedish name.
I see. You're a masseuse, is that right?
Yes, I am.
Where are you from? Akron, Ohio?
No.
I thought all masseuses came from Akron, Ohio. Now, you must ask me why. Go ahead.
Why are masseuse from Akron, Ohio?
Because that's the rubber capital of America. I, Groucho Marx, solemnly swear never to use that joke again. Rome Cook, that's your name?
That's my name.
That's an odd name. I know that Rome Burns, but I didn't know Rome Cook. So.
My name was Cookie, but it was shortened to Cook.
Your name was Cookie, and it was shortened to Cook, huh?
That's right.
Well, where are you from?
Rome, Italy.
Rome, Italy, huh?
That's right.
Is that why your first name is Rome?
Must be.
You were named after the city of Rome. Huh?
Must be.
Why did you come to California?
Well, the weather condition is very nice here.
Aren't they similar to the weather conditions in Italy?
No, it's not.
They're not?
There's great sunshine here. It can't be beat.
And there isn't any... There's a Hungarian out front, huh? Now, as a masseuse, what do you do, Karen?
I do massage and a steam bath and...
Sounds like ticklish work. Huh? How's business at your steam bath?
Oh, we are pretty busy now.
Mm-hmm. Got your hands full, huh?
Oh, yes, sure.
Well, let's go back to Rome. All roads lead to Rome, don't they, Cookie? Let's see, you work for a winery?
Gallo Wine Company.
The Gallo?
Gallo Wines.
Gallo Wines. Do they make just Gallos? Do they make quarts and pints too, or just
Oh,
Gallos?
yes.
Are you married, Cookie?
Yeah, I am.
You have any little grapes at home?
Yes, 4.
4?
Uh-huh.
Well, it's quite a bunch, huh? You must be married to a clinging vine. Now, Rome, do you drink wine yourself?
I do.
Very much?
Well, 3 glasses a day, ever since I can remember.
How long can you remember after 3 glasses? Cookie, why do you drink wine with every meal?
It's a habit, and
why do you do it?
Wine makes meal taste much better.
Have you ever heard of a product called water?
Water? Oh, yes.
Why does the average woman come into your steam bath, Karen, to let off steam?
She wants to take off some pounds or put them on or to relax.
Suppose I wanted you to give me the full treatment. What would I do first?
I give you a private room and give you a sheet and slippers.
I look like Julius Caesar by this time.
You take a mineral bath. Then I put you in a electric cabinet.
What's that?
It's a big, long box with...
Wait a minute. You want to put me in a long box?
Yes, but
I've already got the sheet, then. I may look like I'm ready for a box, but if you don't mind, I'll wait a while. I'm not ready for all that heat, either. I'll be there soon enough. How long do I stay in this mortuary?
Stay about 10, 15 minutes on one side, and then you turn over on the other side again.
Wait a minute. No basting? 15 minutes on each side?
Yes.
All right, my body is being roasted. I'm soaking in mineral oil, and I wish I was home. What's next?
Then I put you on a big marble table.
That's logical. I've got the sheet on. I'm in a pine box, and I'm on a marble slab. By this time, I'm in great shape. Now, why the marble slab?
I had to brush you with salt with a big brush and try to get the old, just as an old floor rub hard.
Well, you said it, Karen. You said floor. Karen, you said floor, and you and Mr. Cookie over here split $100 between you.
Wonderful.
Well, you've both been very interesting, but I still don't know whether to spend my time at Karen's steam bath or at Cookie's winery. Karen, why should I want one of your steam massages?
You feel wonderful, relaxed after a massage?
Good, that settles it. If I want to be relaxed, I'll see Karen. And if I want to be stiff, I'll see Rome Cookie. I now pronounce you wine, woman, and song. Now you're going to play You Bet Your Life. You beat our other 2 couples, and you get a chance at the $2,000 DeSoto Plymouth question. I can't tell you how much our other couples won, but Fenneman's off stage to remind our listeners.
The mail girl and the truck driver are still ahead with $170.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected major cities of the world. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
10.
10? In what country is the city of Cairo?
Egypt.
Egypt is right.
Don't do a good shot, Groucho. They have $30.
You've got $30. Remember, you're going for $2,000 tonight. Now, how much of your $30 will you bet on your second question?
25.
25. In what country is the city of Baghdad? Talk it over.
Do you know?
You ought to know this. You're both from Europe.
Afghanistan.
No, I'm sorry. It's Iraq.
They've dropped to $5 now.
That's a shame. You're down to $5. Well, how much are you going to bet? The 5?
5.
Here's your third question. You're going to bet $5. In what country is the city of Vancouver?
Canada.
Canada is correct.
And you're climbing again. You have $10.
Now you got $10. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 10?
10.
$10. In what country is the city of Warsaw?
What?
Warsaw. W-A-R-S-A-W.
Russia.
I'm sorry. It's Poland. You should have known that.
What? Warsaw. Oh. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah.
You didn't like my pronunciation?
No, I didn't like it.
I didn't care much for myself. Well, now, let's give him another question.
Sure.
They were confused. I'll give him another question.
No, we can.
Okay. In what country is the city of Buenos Aires?
Argentina.
Argentina is right. That's right.
And they wind up with a grand total of $20.
You wind up with a grand total of $20.
And that means the mail girl and the truck driver, with $170, get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $2,000 question.
Well, give me the question, and in just a minute they'll have a chance to win $2,000.
No matter what make of car you drive, folks, it will pay you to go to a DeSoto Plymouth dealer, whether it's for an emergency or a routine checkup. There you get expert, courteous service at the lowest possible cost. In fact, that's a DeSoto Plymouth dealer's everyday way of doing business. Now, DeSoto Plymouth dealers are able to accomplish this because they have highly skilled mechanics in their shop. And these service experts work with specially designed tools and the most modern equipment. From the records they keep on your car, they're able to tell you, for example, when your engine is in need of a tune-up or a lubrication job. They'll tell you when your tires should be rotated to add thousands of miles to their life. So, for the best from your car, drive in where you get the best service at the sign of a DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
And here's the winning couple, Groucho, the mail girl and the truck driver, all set for the DeSoto Plymouth $2,000 question.
All right, here we go for $2,000. I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you, so think carefully. And please, no help from the audience. Here we go. Kansas farmers still plow up pieces of ancient Spanish armor. Who was the Spanish commander who led his forces up through the Middle West and claimed it for Spain in 1540? All right, what is the answer you two have decided upon?
Cortez.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Francisco Coronado. That's the correct answer. So that means the big question next week will be worth $2,500. Well, you lost the big money, but you won how much?
They won $170 in the quiz.
$170 in the quiz, and you won $100 in the secret word. That's $270. Congratulations, and thanks to both of you.
Thank you. Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this time for the Groucho Marx Show, when the big question will be worth $2,500. And don't miss Groucho's television show, also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
And when you drive in, tell them Groucho sent you. Good night, folks, and remember, just be sure to see your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Here's a reminder from the National Safety Council. Good visibility is the first essential of good driving. Always keep your windshield clean. You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell, directed by Robert Dwan and Bertie Smith, music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast.
Autolite and its 96,000 dealers present Suspense. Tonight, Autolite brings you Christmas for Carole, a suspense play starring Mr. Dennis Day. Hey, Hap,
Well, hello, Santa. Why, it's Wilcox. Now, what are you doing in that costume, Harlow?
Going to a Christmas party, Hap.
Oh, what's in the sack?
Why, a load of merry motoring. In this box, I've got smoother performance, you see?
Ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs.
Sure, and when you replace worn-out spark plugs with these new Bantam beauties, your car will perform smoother than Santa skidding down a slippery chimney.
And what's in this box, Harlow?
Fast starts, Hap.
Well, these are ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs, too.
You bet. And they're unmatched for quick starts because they're designed by the same Autolite engineers who designed the coil, distributor, and all the other important parts of the complete ignition system for many leading makes of our finest cars. That's why ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs work as a team with your car's ignition system. And that's why they're world-famous for quality and dependability.
And I suppose you're giving gas savings in the third box, eh, Harlow?
You guessed it, Hap. So, friends, have your Autolite spark plug dealer replace worn-out spark plugs with ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs. Choose either the standard or resistor type. And remember, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, with Christmas for Carole and the performance of Dennis Day, Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
It was dark and silent. The window in the house glinted a little from the Christmas tree lights. Rocky didn't move. He just stood there in the alley, but I wanted to run. Fast, get away and put it behind me.
Just a second.
We got the money, Rocky. What are we hanging around for? Come on, let's get out of here.
I said we wait for the old couple to get back.
What for? Why take chances now?
We got some money. How do we know it's all of it? Maybe they split it and put it in two places. We'll wait here and watch for them when they come in. They'll tip it.
It was $8,000. That's what he withdrew.
You asked for this, kid. Now do as you're told. We wait.
I couldn't help being scared. This was my first job, my first and last. I just wanted that money. I wanted it fast and short, and I wanted to run away from it and forget it. For one shot. That's why I got hold of Rocky Perea. Lucky. I had to be lucky just this once. For Carole, not for me. It was for Carole. Nothing else I cared about, see? It didn't seem possible now that 3 days ago I hadn't known Rocky, hadn't needed him. What is it, Doctor? How about the baby?
Your wife must remain in bed.
Serious?
No, not serious, but she's got to stay flat on her back. A nurse. You should have a nurse with her all the time.
Oh, but it's 2 months away, Doctor.
It's just a question of keeping her relaxed and quiet, not letting her do any work around the house, lift things, or even walk.
Okay, Doctor. And she'll be all right?
There's one other thing. She was quite worried when I told her about the nurse. I get the feeling she's, afraid to have the baby.
Afraid?
Not for herself. I can't put my finger on it, but it's having a detrimental effect on her condition, and
I know what it is, Doctor. Money.
Oh, I see. Well, it might not be easy finding a nurse. Only 4 days till Christmas.
I'll get one, Doctor. Thanks.
I'll call you this evening.
Yeah. Thanks again, Doctor.
Paul?
Sweetheart, it'll be all right. I'm going to get the nurse to take care of you.
I'll be able to get up and around in a day or two.
Not if you want that, son. The doc said everything will be all right if you take it easy, and you're going to take it easy.
But a nurse...
Look, I've got to get back to the bank. I'm only on my lunch hour, sweetheart. I'll make a few calls from there, and tonight we'll pick out the nurse.
How much do they charge?
What's the difference?
How much, Paul? It's a lot of money, I know.
50, 60 a week. We'll make out all right now. There's nothing to worry about.
Oh, Paul. This was going to be a happy Christmas. Now...
Yeah, a happy Christmas in this dump.
It's funny, Paul. $50 a week for a nurse. For another 2 months. Funny. You make $48.50 at the bank. We'll have to pay the nurse more money than you earn.
Yeah, more money than I earn. You know how it is being a bank teller? Feeling, seeing, handling money, taking in money, paying it out. When I went back to work, I was seeing it for the first time with something more than a detached feeling. Thinking, I need this money, I need this money, I need this money. How I need this money. For Carole and the baby. It was almost 3 o'clock when Eddie the bookie came in. Hi, Paul. Good day yesterday. A big action in a few days. Santa Anita opens.
Yeah, people like to throw their money away.
They throw it, I catch it.
Eddie, could I see you later?
You ready to make a deal?
I want to talk to you.
What time you through?
5 o'clock.
Meet you outside at 5 o'clock.
Eddie Garth, bookie. He quit school in the 7th grade. I held out and went through college. And all these years he's tried to get me to go in with him. To run his office, do the bookwork. He was waiting for me when I finished work. We went to a coffee shop and sat down. And all around us the loudspeakers reminding me what a happy Christmas it was.
Hush, Carole, Paul.
Not so good, Eddie. That's what I want to talk to you about.
No more loans, Paul. You need money? Come with me.
Don't you ever give up.
What's so good at the bank? $25 for a Christmas bonus?
Look, Eddie.
Come in with me now. With Santa Anita opening. I could work the outside, get new accounts.
Eddie.
And I'll give you 10% of those accounts, Paul. But I won't lend you the money. I'd be a sucker to lend it to you. I'll give it to you if you come in, but I won't lend you anymore.
Okay, Eddie. Forget it. I'll get it some other way.
I don't get it. What's wrong with my deal?
Look, Eddie, how many times have you been rousted by the Vice Squad?
Plenty.
And every time they book you and they fingerprint you and take your picture.
So what? They never have anything on me.
It's on your record, Eddie, as long as you live. Sure, I need money. Maybe I'm getting close to the time when I'm not too choosy about the way I get it. But it won't be your way.
What? What are you talking about?
If I ever break the law, it's going to be with the right guy and it's going to be the right job.
You're dreaming, Paul. You'll still be in that cage 10 years from now.
I hit and run. One job with enough out of it to make it worthwhile. That's the way to be, Eddie. A one shot.
There is no such thing, Paul. You do something like that, you're stuck in it. And you're worse off than if you came with me. Think about it, Paul.
Go home then and fix dinner for Carole. All the time thinking of the money and Carole and the baby and debts. The worry eating at me and thinking about what I'd said to Eddie. Then the next morning, old man Forbes made a withdrawal. The first he'd ever made.
Hi, son.
What? Oh, hello, Mr. Forbes.
I'm going to miss you, son. Seems like we're good friends after all these years.
Miss me?
Take a look at the slip.
That's a lot of money.
12 years hard work. That's what that money means.
But you're taking it all out?
Yeah. And I quit my job today.
Quit your job?
Ada and me, we've been waiting a long time for this Christmas. We're moving out of the city.
Oh?
Now, we've had our eye on a little farm. Now we can buy it. You've got the papers drawn up.
Then you're leaving right away?
About a week. But Ada don't know yet. I'm going to surprise her. Kind of a Christmas present.
But it's not safe to keep so much cash on you, especially...
I got a perfect place to hide it, son. No one would think to look there. Besides, I figure I've worked too hard and too long to lose it now. Oh, no, son, it wouldn't happen. Wouldn't seem right, son.
It stayed with me and it grew. Like a wheel spinning, gaining momentum. This could be the right job. $8,000, enough for that single shot. It stayed with me. All the time growing.
Yeah, lunch is on me, Paul. If you change your mind.
No, I called you, Eddie, because I need your help.
What kind of help?
Well, you can arrange for me to talk to someone.
Maybe. Who is it?
Rocky Perea.
Rocky Perea? Are you kidding? You picked yourself the right guy, all right. The cops don't even know what he looks like. They never mugged him or printed him.
Yes, Eddie, that's right.
You're crazy, I tell you. 1 million people want to talk to Rocky Perea, including the cops. No, Paul, I can't touch it.
You can, Eddie, if you wanted to bad enough. Please, Eddie.
All right. Let's see what I can do. Maybe I do know someone.
And, Eddie, it's got to be soon.
You know you'll be taking a chance. It better be good.
It is, Eddie. Good enough to take the chance for. That was 2 days ago. And this morning, Eddie came through. A certain friend, Rocky's only outside contact, told him to keep an eye on a house on Hoover Street. Eddie gave me all the dope, what Rocky looked like, how he'd act, what to expect. And early this evening, I told Carole I was going out for a while, that I'd borrow the money from Eddie, and we wouldn't have to worry about paying it back for a while. That's what I told her, but that wasn't the answer. The answer was at the house on Hoover with Rocky Perea. I waited there, hidden in the dark corner behind the incinerator. I kept thinking, making excuses. It wasn't up to me anymore. There wasn't any other choice. I needed money desperately. I needed help to get the money. I waited more than an hour. And then I heard footsteps come up the alley. He stopped before the open patch of light. Just like Eddie told me. He was careful. Very careful, making sure no one was staking him. I took a deep breath and hitched my weight forward. I was going to cut across the open for the back door. I remember thinking, now, do it for Carole, for the rotten, miserable Christmas. Do it now. Rocky! He froze for a split second, and almost faster than I could see, he ducked into a shadow and spun around. The street light didn't touch him. It glinted on something metallic in his hand, and even from where I was standing, I could see he had a gun pointed at me.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Dennis Day in Christmas for Carole. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Say, Hap, are you going to the in-laws for Christmas?
Yes, Harlow.
That's rough.
No, they're okay.
Oh, I mean rough trip, unless you've replaced worn-out spark plugs with ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs. They give your car sensationally smooth performance.
I've heard of them, Harlow.
Well, then you must know that they're designed by the same Autolite engineers who design complete ignition systems, used as original factory equipment on many leading makes of our finest cars. That's why ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs work perfectly with your car's complete ignition system.
The folks really treat us right.
You mean the Autolite spark plug dealers, eh, Hap? Well, they'll replace worn-out spark plugs with ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs for smoother performance, quick starts, gas savings.
After we visit them, we always find...
Find what, Hap?
That you're always right with Autolite, Harlow.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Dennis Day in Elliot Lewis's production of Christmas for Carole, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Rocky, don't shoot. It was a good thing I said it. His gun was aiming front and center. He crouched there looking at me, his eyes flat and hard, then his voice deep and tight and deadly.
Who are you?
I'm not a cop, Rocky.
Come close. I can see you better.
Sure, Rocky. I just want to talk to you.
You call me Rocky. You been talking to anyone?
I've been watching you. I know you're Rocky Perea.
You've been watching me? What for?
You're wanted, Rocky, and you need money.
Who are you? Where'd you come from?
That doesn't matter, Rocky. This is a business deal. I figured it out very carefully. You need money, well, so do I. And I got a way to get it.
Just like that, eh?
And, Rocky, I'm not staying. This is a one-shot deal.
A one-shot? There's no such thing.
That's the way it's got to be. We do this job together and we're through. We never see each other again.
I sure ain't gonna go looking for you. But you won't quit. Not if it comes off easy.
I'll quit, Rocky.
What's in this from me?
Half. $4,000.
Huh. Well, kid, you ain't dumb by any means, staking me out like this. Almost smart enough to be a copper. You got guts still. Tell me, you got a family?
There's no one to stop me. I have a job that doesn't pay enough. This will raise my salary.
You want this one haul, then it's back to your job, eh?
Yeah. Is it a deal?
What's the job?
I have a car. I'll tell you on the way. If you go for it, okay. If not, we forget the whole thing.
Okay, kid. I'll listen to it. Let's go driving.
I told him what I'd planned and why I needed him. And he agreed to come with me. We drove to the Forbes' house. It was a small and old house, just big enough for the two of them. I drove down to the corner and parked, and we started back.
Lucky there's no one on the street. Let's go up the alley.
Yeah, Rocky. There's the back door. Look, no lights. They're not home.
That makes it a cinch. Okay, go on, take it. It's your baby.
Rocky, I'll have to break a window.
Yeah. You want me to hold your hand?
I'll wrap my jacket around my fist. That'll keep the noise down.
Why don't you write me a book?
Okay, I'm going. I was lucky. The side of the house was hidden from the street by a big tree. There was light to see with from the Christmas tree in the living room. I wrapped the jacket around my knuckles, and when the short, sharp jab broke through the window, it sounded like a cannon. The street being so quiet before, I was scared it would rouse the whole neighborhood. But like I said, I was lucky. I scrambled up the sill and dropped into the living room. I was pretty clumsy. I pulled out drawers, looked behind pictures, under cushions. I went in the kitchen and poked around the cabinets. I looked in the cookie jar, and I found a rolled-up wad of bills. It was money, all right, but only $40. The old lady's secret treasure. I put it back and went into the living room again. Looking around, nervous, I stumbled on the Christmas tree and knocked it over. And then I remembered what the old man had said. A Christmas present for his wife. And I knew it was somewhere on that tree. There were Christmas stockings and favors and little red boots in and around the tinsel and the lighted bulbs. And I found the $8,000 hidden deep in one of the stockings. Got it, Rocky.
Let me see it.
It's there, Rocky. It's all there.
Yeah, $8,000. I guess I'll hold it.
Come on, let's go.
Take it easy. We're going to stick around for a while.
Stick around? What for?
Well, we got some money. How do we know it's all of it? Maybe they split it and put it in two places. We'll wait here and watch when they come in. They'll tip it.
It was $8,000. That's what he withdrew.
You asked for this, kid. Now do as you're told. We'll wait.
I couldn't help being scared. My first job. My first and last. A one-shot. I wanted to get away fast, run, and put it behind me. But Rocky just stood there, like he didn't have a worry in the world.
Listen, kid. They're ringing for us. They're wishing us a Merry Christmas. Wait. There they are. They're unlocking the door.
You know, Harvey, the Christmas services were so beautiful.
Sure. This year in particular.
Harvey, look, the tree. Someone's been in here. A burglar.
Burglar?
My cookie jar. I've got my house money hidden there.
The old lady ran to the kitchen, but Forbes knew where to look, and he knew it was gone. Rocky was grinning, his face lit up like floodlights. Let's go, Rocky. We've seen enough.
No, hold on a minute.
It's all here, Harvey. I wonder what he was after.
Ada, it's gone. All the money.
All what money?
$8,000. I took it all out of the bank. Ada, I quit my job. It was going to be a surprise.
No.
Every penny we had in the world.
Oh, Harvey. All that money.
No, it'll be all right, Ada.
Oh, 12 years you worked so we could have something.
Well, I can keep on working, Ada. I'll do it all over again.
Oh, you can't work anymore. The doctor. Oh, what's a person to believe? You work so hard and we do without things for 12 long years. And for what? In 1 minute, some good-for-nothing hoodlum takes it all away from us.
I looked at Rocky standing there next to me, his face split by that grin. It was funny to him, something to laugh about, to gloat over. That's why he'd stayed. Suddenly I knew I couldn't go through with it. Me, the guy who needed the money so bad, the guy with the bright one-shot idea.
Quite a show, eh, kid? Come on, let's go.
He moved off a few steps, but I just stood there, knowing what I was going to do.
Come on, I said, let's go.
Knowing what I was going to do. No, Rocky, we're not going.
Huh?
I said we're not going, and neither is the money.
What's that?
Don't, Rocky. I've got a gun, too.
What's got into you?
I'm going to give that money back, Rocky. I can't stomach this.
Give it back. You're crazy.
No, Rocky, I just didn't see deep enough. Old people like this.
This was your idea. I ain't responsible for it.
I know, Rocky, but I can make it right.
Suppose I don't give you the money.
Then I'll kill you, Rocky.
Okay, kid. You got the gun.
He gave me the money, all the hate showing in his eyes. I turned and started for the house. I gave him my back for a target, but he didn't use it. I knocked on the door.
Yes, who? Paul.
From the bank.
I just had a fight with a guy, Mr. Forbes. Saw him jump from your window. I chased after him.
Our window? You saw him?
Yes, ma'am. I was walking past. I kind of figured he'd just finished robbing you.
Well, did you catch him?
Well, I couldn't hold on to him. He broke away, but not before I got this.
Why, Harvey, the money.
Yes.
Oh, bless you.
Oh, forget it. I'm only sorry I couldn't hold him.
You say you fought with this burglar?
Yes, he broke away before...
We want to thank you, Paul.
Forget it. I'll be going now.
Oh, wait, Paul, we want to give you a reward.
Oh, no. No, I don't want a reward. I'll have to be going. I stopped there on the porch for a minute, afraid to go back to Rocky. Suddenly terribly afraid of what he'd do to me. The old couple was still talking, loud, like old people do.
Yes, it all happened so fast.
I've always wondered about that boy. What made him bring the money back?
He's honest, Ada. I know him from the bank.
Oh, fiddlesticks, Harvey. He didn't fight with anyone.
What do you mean, Ada?
Well, his clothes, by the whole story he told us, your young friend took the money in the first place.
Why, Ada, I believe you're right.
Of course I'm right. Now, what on earth made him change his mind like that?
It's Christmas, Ada. Merry Christmas.
She'd known. The old lady had known all along. And it didn't make any difference. Why, she'd even offered to give me a reward. Suddenly I felt something strange, like being clean inside. Like being able to see something that wasn't there before. And the tightness, the fear eased a little.
Now, let's go, kid. The car.
Rocky.
You did what you wanted. You just forgot that half of that money was mine. Now move. Get it moving. What was it you said? You need me, Rocky. You're hot.
Rocky, I made a mistake.
I want to team up with you, Rocky. You need money. I got away.
I was wrong.
Maybe the next job you won't get soft in the head.
There's not going to be a next one, Rocky. I'm through.
Through? You think I spent Christmas Eve with you because I like you? I'm out $4,000.
I'm sorry, Rocky, but there's not going to be a next time.
You think so, huh? Stop the car.
All right. But I'll never see it different, Rocky. I found out tonight. If it's not these old people, then it's someone else taking it just as hard.
You sure? You sure it's not Christmas doing this?
I'm sure. It's not for me, Rocky.
Huh. You know, I'm kind of glad it turned out this way.
You what?
Well, you're through, ain't you? You're going back to your job.
Yeah, Rocky, sure.
Good. Then I figured it right.
What?
I didn't think you'd go through with it.
Say, wait a minute.
Yeah?
You're not Rocky Perea.
I said you were a smart kid.
But the way you acted, so careful, sneaking in the alley and... Say, who are you?
Weissman's the name. Police Lieutenant Richard Weissman, gangster squad.
You're a cop? But where's Rocky?
We picked him up this afternoon, kid. He had a couple of guys working with him, and I thought maybe you were one of them. Now I know different.
A cop?
I don't expect I'll run into you again, kid. So take care of yourself. And Merry Christmas.
Lucky. All the breaks. But I was no better off than this morning. There was still money, 2 months paying the nurse. There was still the worry for Carole.
Oh, Mr. Shane, we've been expecting you. Congratulations.
Doctor, what's the matter? Why?
Nothing's wrong, quite the contrary. Your wife just had a baby.
Baby? Carole?
Well, she's perfectly all right, so is your daughter.
Carole. Oh, Carole, darling. Are you all right?
Hello, sweetheart. I'm fine.
Carole, is...
We won't have to borrow the money now, Paul. It's turned out for the best after all.
Oh, darling.
And it always will, my dear. We have so much, you and I. We have each other. And now we've got a daughter. A fine, healthy little girl. The rest will come, Paul. Let's live the day we have. Your little girl's over there, Paul. Tell her we're very, very happy she's in the family. And wish her a Merry Christmas.
The first Noel, the angel did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep.
Look, Carol, look. She's smiling.
Suspense, presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. Dennis Day.
Santa visits girls and boys after they've been good, but Autolite keeps cars and trucks performing as they should.
Right you are, Hap, because Autolite makes more than 400 products for cars, trucks, planes, and boats in 28 plants coast to coast. These include complete electrical systems used as original equipment on many leading makes of America's finest cars. Electric windshield wipers, starting motors, voltage regulators, coils, distributors, wire and cable, generators. All engineered to fit together perfectly, work together perfectly because they're a perfect team. So, friends, don't accept electrical parts supposed to be as good. Ask for and insist on original factory parts at your neighborhood service station, car dealer, garage, or repair shop. And because all Autolite parts are original factory parts, you can be sure you're right, because you're always right with Autolite.
Next week on Suspense, Mr. Cornell Wilde, a star of A Ring for Maria. And in weeks to come, you will hear such famous stars as Mickey Rooney, Ginger Rogers, Eve Arden, and Ezio Pinza, all appearing in tales well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Suspense is produced and directed by Elliott Lewis, with music composed by Lucien Moraweck and conducted by Lud Gluskin. Christmas for Carole was written for Suspense by David Friedman. Dennis Day appears through arrangement with Colgate-Palmolive Peach Company and may be heard on his own program, A Day in the Life of Dennis Day.
And remember, next week on Suspense, Mr. Cornell Wilde in A Ring for Maria.
Hiya, babe. Say, how about... Ouch.
Does that answer your question, buddy?
The Adventures of Maisie, starring Ann Southern. You all remember Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's famous Maisie picture. In just a moment, you'll hear Maisie in radio, starring the same glamorous star you all went to see and loved on the screen, Ann Southern. But first, your announcer. Southern as Maisie.
Yep, I'm Maisie, like the fella said, Maisie Revere. That's the name I use in show business for, well, sort of protection. You see, on the stage, if your act lays an egg, instead of changing the act, you change your name. Right now I'm thinking of a new name for myself, Mrs. Eddie Jordan. Gosh, that's a beautiful name. But I guess any name is when it has Mrs. in front of it. Me and Eddie, we've been going steady for more than a year now, and we've been saving our money so as we can get married and have a nice place to raise our little family. So me and Eddie, we've been pinching our pennies, cutting out almost everything you can think of. Answer that, will you, Mrs. Kennedy? I'm busy sewing buttons on Eddie's other shirt. Oh, shucks, I broke another button in half.
That's the third one, Maisie. I guess those buttons are worn pretty thin.
Yeah, and the trouble is I'm fresh out of paper clips.
All right, I'm coming. Hello? Mrs. Kennedy's boarding house. Me talking.
It's me, Mrs. Kennedy, Shirley Flegel.
Oh.
I'd like to converse with Maisie. She's handy.
Ouch.
Not with button sewing, she ain't. Maisie, it's Shirley.
Oh, I'm too busy. Tell her I'm not here.
Shirley, she says she ain't here.
Oh, cruel disappointment. When will she be back?
Hold the line, I'll ask her. Maisie, when will you be back?
Oh, never mind, Mrs. Kennedy. I'll tell her myself. Hello, Shirley. I just came in.
Oh, gee, it's a good thing that I done hang up. Maisie, the reason which I called is on account of me and Sydney. We're going to the opera tonight.
The opera, huh?
Yeah.
Well. That dry cleaning business of your boyfriend's must be picking up.
Yeah, lately Sydney's been getting a Park Avenue trade. No more than crummy flight tickets. Now when Sydney goes through the pockets of his customers, he finds a much superior ilk of loot.
Too bad Sydney don't do no business with jewelers. That way maybe he could find you an engagement ring. What'd you call up for, Shirley? To brag how good your fella is to you?
Parish forbid, Maisie. You know I ain't the type person because she should go to my head. I thought maybe you and Eddie could maybe join us, maybe.
Join you?
Yeah.
Well, you mean Sydney found 4 tickets?
No, only 2.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Shirley. I already saw that opera.
Saw it, but maybe tonight they're showing Romeo and Juliet.
Well, I'm sorry, Shirley. I already saw both those operas.
You did? Maisie, then how about after the show, you and Eddie join us for a hamburger?
Oh, well, that's swell, Cheryl. We'll meet you at your house.
At my house?
Uh-huh.
But Maisie, me and Sydney planned we should partake of a couple of hamburgers at a restaurant.
Oh. Who's paying the bill?
Who's paying it? You know my Sydney, Maisie.
Yeah. I think me and Eddie ain't going to be hungry.
But we don't intend we should meet you till after the opera. How do you know you ain't going to be hungry in advance?
Because we're saving up to be married, that's why. Goodbye. That cheapskate Sydney never sends a dime for entertainment.
Eddie's different. It's about time you let him spend some of your hoard on a little fun.
Oh, well, me and Eddie ain't exactly being hermits, Mrs. Kennedy. He took me to a picture show or 2, if you recall.
Yeah, but times have changed, Maisie. Nowadays, they've got talkies.
Well, frankly, I'm getting a little tired of spending my Sundays at the zoo. Gosh, when I see people feeding peanuts to the elephant, my mouth waters.
And those trips to Grant's tomb can't be much fun anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Grant's the one that's dead, not you.
Prove it.
Oh, you should go to dances. You still remember how, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I think. That's where you walk around and wipe your feet on the floor, huh?
Dancing's a lot of fun, they tell me.
Gosh. Picture shows, hamburgers, dancing. I've sure missed them.
Well, there's no good reason why you can't give your piggy bank a rest once in a while and go out and live.
But, Eddie, in my budget.
Honey, a budget is like a girdle. It's supposed to stretch enough to take in everything.
I know. But the whole idea of concentrating on our apartment was mine. Now, Eddie's so used to saving, he actually enjoys it. How do I tell him I want him to ease up a little?
Maisie, are you a man or a mouse?
Well, the cheesy life I've been leading, I must be a mouse.
Now, look, honey, I've seen you looking through the entertainment page of the newspaper. You're just dying to go to a nice, gay musical show tonight, aren't you?
Yeah, but that costs about $4.
Eddie loves you, don't he?
Yeah, but I ain't sure he loves me $4 worth.
I think he does. If you suddenly get tired of this penny pinching arrangement.
But I can't. It was all my idea in the beginning.
Oh, that was a long time ago. Eddie doesn't have that good a memory.
Oh, you mean make him believe this silly budget idea of mine was his idea?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think I can do that, Mrs. Kennedy.
You don't?
No, but I can try.
Hi, folks. Surprised to see little Eddie home this hour of the day?
A little. What happened, Eddie? You been fired again?
Fired? You know me.
Oh, so you were fired.
Sorry to disappoint you, landlady mine. I just dropped home to join you lovely ladies in a spot of lunch. So crowded in the automat. I've been working so hard that I'm exhausted.
Oh, even too tired to push nickels in those slots, huh?
Oh, Mrs. Kennedy, you shouldn't think I came here for lunch just because I wanted to save money.
It's true, ain't it?
Yeah, but you shouldn't think it. What's for lunch?
Well, we weren't prepared for this honor, but you have a choice of cheese sandwiches.
Oh, what's the choice?
Take it or leave it.
Oh, thank you. I'll take it. Maisie, you shouldn't be sore. After all, I'm eating here for us. A penny saved is a penny earned, as Confucius said.
Well, ain't it nice of Confucius being on our side? Well, I'll get lunch fixed for my little playboy, Mrs. Kennedy.
And cut the bread a little thicker this time, honey. The last time you cut it so thin, you almost missed it.
Never mind, Maisie. I'll do the honors. You save your strength.
Well, I might as well, Mrs. Kennedy. I've been saving everything else lately.
Maisie, honey, what gives with you all of a sudden? Remember, I'm doing all this, depriving myself of everything just for you.
Bologna.
What?
The cheese is all gone. Have some bologna instead?
Oh, sure, thanks. Gosh, I'm starved. Say, Mrs. Kennedy, you eat your pork meat in this sandwich?
Uh-huh.
Funny, I don't taste any.
Well, keep eating. You're bound to come to it.
Say, what's the idea of such a tiny piece of meat?
Mrs. Kennedy is on a saving spree, too, Eddie. Seems like your philosophy on thrift is catching.
My philosophy?
Mm-hmm.
Maisie, it was your idea to put ourselves on a strict budget.
My idea?
Yes.
Eddie Jordan, all I did was casually suggest it might be a good idea if we saved a little towards our apartment.
Yeah, but you casually suggested it every day for 6 months. I finally gave in.
Oh, that's the trouble with you, Eddie. You have no willpower.
Oh, brother. Mrs. Kennedy, what do you do with a person that's so stubborn?
I don't have to do nothing, Eddie. Maisie's the one that's engaged to you, not me.
Say, what is this? A plot to make me the heavy in this plan of Maisie's?
Okay, Mr. Jordan. If it makes you feel any better to blame me for this drudgery you've forced me into. Okay.
Look, darling, I don't want to argue with you.
Oh, so now you want to deprive me of the only enjoyment I get out of life.
Oh, so you want excitement? Well, look at me.
What's so exciting about you?
When I come home after a hard day at the office, what have I got to look forward to? All I do is sit and stare at four walls. A man wants more than that.
What do you want I should do, erect an extra wall?
Look who's complaining. Look what this plan is doing to me. I haven't even been to the beauty parlor in 6 months.
It's a terrible thing to happen to a woman, to be so far behind in the latest hairstyle.
And the latest gossip.
Maisie, I don't know what's come over you, but if you feel we should enjoy life and forget about our getting married for a while, it's fine with me. From now on, the entertainment committee for Maisie and Eddie Incorporated is strictly in your hands. I've got to get back to the office now. I'm late.
Oh, yeah, honey, and it is a long walk.
Walk? But I thought we were dropping our budget. Why can't I take the bus back?
The bus? Eddie, that costs a dime.
Yeah, and there's no reason to go hog wild.
And it's only 3 miles back to the office, Eddie. We got to save our money for something we both can enjoy, like maybe going dancing.
Sure. There's nothing I'd enjoy more after a long day of walking than an evening of dancing. See you tonight, Maisie.
Well, looks like the beginning of gay times and happy fun, huh? Now, for a starter on your mad spending spree, I'd suggest dinner and dancing at a nice, reasonable nightclub.
Oh, yeah, but there ain't no such thing as a reasonable nightclub, Mrs. Kennedy. Dinner in those places is very expensive.
So you just go to dance.
Yeah, but dancing gives me an appetite.
So what? So you order something cheap, like a bowl of soup.
Well, to eat that, you have to sit down.
So?
So that means a table with a cover charge.
So you pay a $2 cover charge.
Just to eat a 10-cent bowl of soup.
Maisie, honey, I thought you wanted to have fun.
Yeah, but in a sensible way.
Honey, there ain't no way to have fun sensibly.
Well, there's got to be, and Eddie and me are going to enjoy life if it kills us. In a cheap way, of course.
There's a penny arcade around the corner.
That's where Eddie and me went New Year's Eve.
Maisie, prepare yourself for a blow. You can't have any fun unless you spend something.
Yeah, that's the trouble with the world. Everybody's out to get your money.
Oh, get that, will you, honey? I might as well sharpen up the pencils. Looks like tonight you and Eddie are going to have another wild evening of tic-tac-toe at home again.
Hello.
Hello, Maisie. This is Rita Howard. good.
Oh, hello, Rita.
I just called up to find out if you heard the latest dirt about Florence Brockman.
Oh, no, Rita. What is the latest about Florence?
How would I know? I ain't been to the beauty parlor in weeks. I thought maybe you might have heard.
Oh, no. I haven't been out of the house in some time, too, Rita. I thought surely you would know all the latest about Florence. After all, you're her best friend.
Yeah, but I ain't seen her in weeks. I ain't even been out of the house since my Sam got his new motion picture camera and projection machine.
Oh, dear. You mean Sam still spends all his spare time taking moving pictures?
Yeah.
Isn't that an expensive hobby, Rita?
With Sam, it ain't no hobby. A career it turned into these home movies. A regular C-for-B schlemeel he became since the day we were married. In Technicolor, yes.
Gosh, sounds like Sam's got it real bad.
In spades, Maisie. To Sam, everything that happens has to be recorded on film for posterity. The other night, for instance, a burglar broke into the house. Sam heard him and ran downstairs.
Yeah? Did he catch the burglar?
No, but he photographed 300 feet of him stealing the silverware.
Oh, gosh, Rita, can't you do something to make Sam stop already with that camera?
Don't think I didn't try. Last night I told him I was leaving him, so I packed all my things and I dressed the kids and walked out the front door.
You didn't?
If you don't believe me, come over to the house. Sam got it all on film.
Oh. Well, I'd love to come over, Rita, but Eddie and me, we sort of planned on spending, say, Rita, these home movies that Sam shows, is it for free?
What else? Who pays admission? They should see homemade pictures of domestic bliss. Come on over, Maisie. You might as well see Sam's pride and joy, too. Everybody my Sam knows even slightly has been invited over to our house. They should see on the screen our entire married life.
But the pictures, Rita, are they interesting?
How should I know? All night long I'm busy making sandwiches and opening up bottles of beer.
Oh, you serve refreshments, too, for free. Well, Rita, Eddie and me, we haven't seen you and Sam in a long time, so we'll drop over tonight for a few hours just to visit our two best friends, mind you.
Sure. What time will you and Eddie be dropping over?
Oh, I don't know. When does the first performance start?
At 8:30, friend.
Well, we'll be there, Rita. And, honey, I know all the pests you've invited don't realize all the trouble and expense you go through serving a snack. So why don't you skip it, and after the show, we'll all go out to a nice, quiet restaurant.
Why, Maisie, that's a wonderful suggestion. But isn't that rather, expensive?
Oh, not any more than it costs you to feed us at home.
Oh, brother.
The Adventures of Maisie, starring Ann Southern, will continue in just a moment. Maisie.
They're all dressed now, Mrs. Kennedy. How do I look?
Maisie, honey, is that old dress of yours too tight, or do your eyes always bulge out of your head?
Well, frankly, it isn't loose, Mrs. Kennedy. Before I put it on, I took one deep breath. That'll have to do for the whole night.
Well, pardon me for sticking my nose into your budget, honey, but don't you think it's about time you went on a mad splurge and bought yourself a new dress?
A new one? Mrs. Kennedy, don't you realize that dresses cost money?
Yes, I know. I get around a lot. That little number you've got on is a wee bit out of style.
Oh, so it's a little out of style. It's still very pretty. Besides, if a girl has knees, she should show them, I always say. Oh, is that you, Eddie?
Uh-huh. Can I come in, honey? I got something to tell you that'll make your eyes pop out.
Too late. They're already out.
Come on in, Eddie.
Hi, Maisie, baby. Say, I got great... Oh, new dress, honey?
Oh, I made it myself out of odds and ends.
It sure is odd where it ends.
Well, it'll have to do for tonight. It'll be dark at Rita's anyway.
Rita's? Rita and Sam Howard?
Uh-huh.
Put on your white tie, top hat, and house slippers, Eddie. Tonight you're going to find out that home motion pictures ain't your best entertainment.
Look, Maisie, honey, I don't know what you cooked up for us tonight, but we're not going.
Oh, but we gotta go, Eddie. It's for free. And besides, I ain't getting out of this dress and sit around tonight. It took me too long to struggle into it. Tonight we're going to the Howards for home movies.
Home movies? At Sam's yet? Oh, include me out, Maisie.
Why? What's so terrible about Sam? He's a nice guy. Got a swell wife and a couple of the sweetest kids
that ever grew up on film.
You ain't kidding, Mrs. Kennedy. Sidney told me about Sam and his movie camera. As soon as he gets anybody in his house, he quick turns out all the lights and shows them home movies of his honeymoon and each one of his kids from the day each were born right through their childhood. And the oldest boy is 12.
Oh, well, so what's wrong about kids growing up?
Nothing. But I don't want to sit in his parlor and grow up with him. I got better plans for tonight.
Like what, for instance? Going around the corner to the bakery and smelling the hot bread?
No. Tonight we've been invited up to Kenny Bascom's house.
Eddie Jordan, I am not going to waste a perfectly good evening at the home of a total stranger.
Kenny is a millionaire.
Millionaire?
Yeah.
Oh, well, what time does this friend of yours expect us?
Well, it's this way, honey. Kenny Bascom is from Texas.
And he's a millionaire.
Naturally.
Kenny and me went to college together. He was the dumbest guy in school.
And now he's got millions.
Some dumb, I'll say.
I used to help Kenny with his studies at college. You see, I was smart.
He has millions.
And you're smart.
Anyway, I ran into Kenny by accident this afternoon. And he's throwing a big party tonight at his penthouse, celebrating another well coming in.
He made his money in oil?
Oh, naturally. He's from Texas.
And Kenny invited us up there, Maisie. They're having a real big blowout. Champagne and orchestra, entertainment.
Oh, now that's what I call an invitation, Maisie.
Yep, a dream come true. Kenny lives in a joint that just shouts money.
Where's he live in, Fort Knox?
Maisie, what's wrong? Certainly you want to go to this party.
Well, I'd love to, but I promised Rita and Sam that we'll be at their place tonight.
So what? Call Rita up and tell her we can't make it tonight.
Yes, just say your grandmother just died.
No, I can't. She'd smell a rat and the rat'd be me. Rita's going through a lot of trouble tonight. Sandwiches and cake, and somebody's got to eat it.
Well, let her give it to the dog.
Oh, she doesn't have a dog.
Oh, I'll buy her one, Maisie. You can't miss this opportunity. Oh, a pet house party. Wowie!
But what'll I tell Rita? I'll need a darn good excuse.
Look, why don't you just tell her the truth?
Oh, Eddie, Rita's my best friend. You don't tell the truth to your best friend.
Maisie, you wanted to have fun. You told me you were sick, and...
Oh, that's it. I'll call Rita and say I'm sick.
Good. While you're at it, I'll go and get dressed.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, Sam. This is Maisie.
Speak up, Maisie. I can't hear you.
I know. I really got it bad. Sam, me and Eddie can't come over tonight.
What?
I'm sick. Very sick. Just took some penicillin.
Penicillin?
Yeah. I developed a case of laryngitis and can't talk above a whisper.
What?
I said I can't talk above a whisper.
I can't hear you, Maisie.
I said I can't talk above a whisper.
Oh, too bad, but you just did.
I did? Well, gosh, that penicillin sure works fast, don't it?
Yeah. Now, me and Rita, we'll expect you over about 6, Maisie. We're putting on a special long show just for you tonight. Now, you can't get no excuse not to come.
Yeah, but I'm working on one.
Got a bad headache.
Yeah, Sam, we can't come over. I got a bad headache.
You have? Ain't that sort of sudden, Maisie?
Yeah, Mrs. Kennedy just thought of it. I mean, I feel terrible, Sam.
Well, that's too bad, Maisie. What you need is quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll bring over my equipment and show the pictures there at your place.
Yeah. You call that quiet?
Well, I'll just show my silent stuff, you know, without sound.
Oh, fine. But what about Rita? It's too late to get a babysitter.
I already got one. Rita, be right over with my stuff, Maisie.
Oh, my goodness. Now I really got a headache.
You mean, Maisie, no party at the penthouse?
No, Mrs. K. Tonight we're having home movies. At home.
Now, in this next reel here, folks, you'll see some swell shots of our trip through the state of Rhode Island.
Fine. Now we got to travel all the way through that state, too.
Oh, it won't be long, Eddie. After all, Rhode Island is such a small state.
On the map, yes. On film, no.
Gosh, home movies of our honeymoon trip, they sure are wonderful. You know, I could go on showing them forever.
Yeah. Aren't you?
Say, now, here are some gorgeous scenes of the woods. Look, there's a fir tree, see? And on the other side, there's another fir tree. And another fir tree. A fir tree.
What do you call this picture? Forever lumber?
Well, that's all of Rhode Island.
Good. Now, Sam, it's been wonderful of you to come over and show us your movies. It's been just about the most enjoyable weekend I've ever spent.
Oh, I'm not finished yet now. There's a lot more.
That figures.
Say, folks, here's my favorite shot here. Here's a scene of Old Faithful Geyser in Yellowstone Park.
Oh.
You know, it spouts up in the air every hour. You probably didn't know that. Now, it hasn't been a minute late in 200 years.
That's what I like. A prompt geyser.
Now, watch closely. It's going to spout.
When?
In about 40 minutes. You can't rush geysers, you know.
Yeah, they ain't the only things you can't rush.
Yeah, but I won't show you the shots that are leading up to the spouting, folks, because, well, the first 20 minutes are a little dull, some people think.
They're probably not geyser lovers.
No, and they get a little bored waiting for it to crouch for the spout.
Now, here goes Old Faithful. She's getting ready. Getting ready.
There's somebody at the door.
Oh, I'll see who it is.
You sit here, I'll get.
Eddie Jordan, that's my door, and I'll get out of here and see who it is.
But I heard the knock first.
Getting ready. Getting ready.
It is my door, and I'll go out and get it. You sit here and enjoy yourself.
Oh, boy. This is really living.
Here she goes. No, not yet.
Getting ready.
Oh, what can I do for you, pal?
I'm from the electric company, miss. You haven't paid your bill for 2 months, and I was told to turn off the electricity.
Oh, well, I guess I overdid my penny pinching. I've got the money right here.
Oh, I'm awful glad, miss, because without electricity, you couldn't cook, play the radio, play the slot machine.
See home movies?
Hardly. I'll give you a receipt for the electric bill.
No. I've changed my mind. I'm not paying the bill.
Oh, then I'll have to turn off the power. Where's your power box?
Right in there next to the projection machine. Hurry up, you darling.
Getting ready. Getting ready. Here it goes.
You ain't kidding, Sam. There's the power box, mister. Turn the electricity off.
Turn it off?
Well, this lady didn't pay her bill.
Oh, I'll pay it.
Oh, Eddie, shut up.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, there's the box, mister. Here, have a cigar.
Wait a minute. You can't turn off the electricity, mister. She's about to blow.
So are Eddie and me. We got a prior date, which I made later.
Oh, I'm sorry, chum, but orders are orders. The electric company says so.
Love that company.
But I'm showing the movies that I took at my honeymoon.
You are?
Only the places he went, chum.
Maisie, get your hat.
Wait a minute now. You can't do this to my friends, mister. No, all they've seen so far has been the giant redwoods and some of the Middle West states and the Grand Canyon.
The Grand Canyon? Oh, gee, I always wanted to see what that looked like.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, sit down. It's in the very first reel. I'll just start over from the beginning.
Oh, no.
Well, here we go again.
In just a moment, we shall return to the adventures of Maisie. Again, here's Maisie.
And so the thing started again. Sam and Rita's honeymoon from the moment they got married. And the first 3 reels were just of Rita's mother crying. The way she carried on, you'd think she was marrying Sam. And the closest we got to Texas was on film. Sam showed us every inch of the state, and he didn't miss an oil well. Very interesting things, oil wells. But to me, they're like Western pictures. Once you've seen one of them, you've seen them all. This whole cheap way of having fun taught me a lesson, though. If, like they say, the best things in life are free, I'll settle for the next best. Oh, it's morning now, and Sam and everybody just left. so me for bed. Gosh, Texas is a big state. Probably the biggest that the United States ever joined.
You have just heard The Adventures of Maisie, starring Ann Sothern. Maisie was written by Arthur Phillips. Original music was composed and conducted by Harry Zimmerman. Supporting cast included Elvia Allman, Pat McGeehan, Peter Leeds, Sandra Gould, Ed East, and Virginia Gray. Jack McCoy speaking.
Well, your father says so, and your father knows best.
Yes, his father knows best. Transcribed in Hollywood, starring Robert Young as father. A half-hour visit with your neighbors, the Andersons. Brought to you by Maxwell House, the coffee that's bought and enjoyed by more people than any other brand of coffee at any price. Maxwell House, always good to the last drop. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
Kathy.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
Oh, Kathy, did you drop another box of ornaments?
Well, they slipped.
They slipped, did they? Margaret, what's the matter with that child? I asked her to do a perfectly simple little thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Please continue.
Thank you. In Springfield, the streets were all covered with snow, and lights blinked a path for St. Nicholas below.
Ye gods and little fishes. Now what happened?
You blew out a fuse, Dad.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. How could I do a silly thing like that?
Easy.
What?
Oh, I said you were putting too many lights on one circuit.
Oh, you did? Well, go get a flashlight or a candle or something. How do you expect me to... Oh, I'm awfully sorry. I assure you this wasn't intentional. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The Andersons, gathered as snug as could be, sat waiting for Father to finish the tree. When out in the hall there rose such a clatter...
I'll get it. Hello? Oh, hello, Janie. No, we're just trimming the tree.
Who is it, dear?
It's only Janie, Mother.
Well, tell her you call her tomorrow.
And come back in here where you belong. Or do I have to trim the whole tree by myself?
I'll call you tomorrow, Janie. Oh, it's my father. He won't let anybody else touch the tree, but if you aren't there to watch, he makes out like 10 men. 9 dead and 1 dying. Okay, Janie. Easy breezy, you'll slide a mile. You may go ahead now.
You'll never know how grateful I am. All right, boys. When out in the hall there arose such a clatter...
Kathy, will you please leave the presents alone?
Gee whiz.
When out in the hall there arose such a clatter... Oh, well, what's the difference? What I say won't matter. Go ahead, Jim.
There. I guess that does it. Well, how does it look?
Oh, it's beautiful, dear. Really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
The angel's crooked.
Certainly is not. That's the straightest angel I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, then the tree's crooked.
But doesn't anything ever satisfy you?
I'm satisfied, but I thought you'd want to know. Something's crooked.
Jim, dear, it's getting late.
It took me 3 hours to trim that tree, and what thanks do I get? Something's crooked.
I think it looks wonderful, Daddy.
Thank you, Kathy.
It's certainly different, Father.
Thank you, Betty.
It still looks crooked to me.
Jim, It's awfully late. If you're going to tell the children their Christmas story, you'd better start. They'll be up until midnight as it is.
Well, maybe they'd just as soon not hear the story this year.
Oh, no, Daddy. Please.
Betty?
I'd like to hear it, Father.
All right. Bud?
If the tree isn't crooked, why are all the bells cockeyed? Oh, sure. I want to hear the story, Dad. Go right ahead.
How does the tree look?
Great, Dad. Straight as a string.
All right. Now that we're all agreed that ours is the most magnificent tree in Springfield...
In the whole world, Daddy.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But as long as we all agree that it's a pretty nice tree, let's sit down and I'll begin. Now, once upon a time, about 100 years ago, there lived in the small Danish town of Odense a man whose name, like ours, was Andersen. He was a tall man, thin and gaunt, and not too pleasing to the eye. But he was a friendly man, gentle and kind, and his heart held so much love that the children of Denmark took him for their own. One cold, brisk day in December, the day before Christmas, as a matter of fact, this gentle man plodded down the main street of Odense. The cobbled street was covered with snow, and aside from their jingling bells, the sleighs were soundless as they moved swiftly along their way. In the doorways of the snow-capped buildings, peddlers called their wares. Candles for the Christmas tree, holly to deck the festive mantle with bright red berries and verdant leaves, Yule logs for a flaming fire, anything your fancy might desire.
Mistletoe, a sprig of mistletoe for your door, mynheer. Mistletoe.
Good afternoon, Fru Meisling, and how are you this lovely, clear day?
Hello, Herr Andersen. How could I be? I grow old and weary, and my bones are full of aches and pains.
Old? No one is old, Fru Meisling. As long as the heart is young and the spirit is gay, no one grows old.
And what about the feet? Look, Herr Andersen, holes in my shoes. How can your spirit be gay when you must stand in the snow with holes in your shoes?
That is easily fixed. Herr Bremer has the skill of a genius. In 1 minute at his cobbler's bench, he can make your shoes like new.
Herr Bremer, that thief, that scoundrel. Do you know, Herr Andersen, I have heard that Herr Bremer uses cardboard instead of leather. Cardboard, mind you.
Fru Meisling, I'm surprised. You have been looking in the hobgoblin's mirror.
Ah, Herr Andersen, you and your hobgoblins. Those are fairy tales for children, not old women.
Fairy tales? You think that the stories I tell are not true? Fru Meisling, I am shocked. Ask any child in Denmark, and he will tell you I speak nothing but the truth.
About hobgoblins?
Well, perhaps I exaggerate a little. But in my stories, people do not gossip. People do not spread rumors. No one says that Herr Bremer's leather is mostly cardboard, unless they have looked in the hobgoblin's mirror.
But, Herr Andersen, I have been told, how else does Herr Bremer grow rich?
He works hard. He is frugal. And he has a good heart.
The one who told me she has a good heart, too.
Then it was she who looked in the hobgoblin's mirror. Fru Meisling, this was an evil goblin, one of the very worst. For he was the demon himself. One day he was in a wonderful humor, for he had fashioned a mirror, a very peculiar mirror which would appeal only to a goblin of this very low order. You see, anything good or beautiful that was reflected in this mirror immediately shrank to almost nothing. But anything evil or ugly was instantly enlarged out of all proportion. That was very amusing, the demon thought. And then he had another idea, a truly evil idea. Whenever a good, kind thought passed through a person's mind, it was reflected in the mirror as a grin. And even the hobgoblins themselves had to chuckle at this artful invention. They scurried about with a mirror until there was not a country or a person in the whole world who had not appeared all twisted and misshapen in this demon's glass. And then, Fru Meisling, it happened. The hobgoblins decided to take their mirror up to heaven, too. They wanted to mock the very angels themselves. So they flew higher and higher and higher into the sky, closer and closer to the realm of angels. And the higher they flew, the larger became the grid and the mirror. The thoughts of the angels, pure and kind as a thought can be, shook the mirror so that it plummeted to earth, where it was shattered into 100 million pieces. And that was very sad for Maisie, for some of these fragments, no larger than a grain of dust, still float about the world. Each of them carries with it just a tiny bit of the hobgoblin's power. Each little piece makes one see evil where there is good, ugliness where there is beauty. Fru Meisling, I think I see it now. In the corner of your eye, a tiny speck. Let me take it out.
Yes, Mynheer, take it out. Please, take it out.
Fru Meisling, you are trembling. There's no need to be afraid.
Oh, Herr Anderson, you and your stories, you make me forget.
That is too bad. I wish only to make you remember.
Herr Anderson, about Herr Bremer, I should not have spoken as I did. Will you forgive me?
There, it's out, that evil piece of glass. You see, it's as easy as that.
You are a very good man, Herr Anderson. Here, take this sprig of mistletoe. It will cost you nothing.
I shall treasure it, Fru Meisling, to the end of my days.
Ah, go away before you charm the buttons off my shoes.
Goodbye, Fru Meisling. And a Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, Herr Anderson, and God go with you. Mistletoe, a sprig of mistletoe for your door, my name.
Well,
mistletoe.
I'll wager I cut a handsome figure with a sprig of mistletoe pinned to my coat. Very handsome indeed. I shall say to Jonas Collin, I need no advance, you skinflint of a publisher. See, who but a wealthy man could afford mistletoe for his coat? That's just what I'll say. Yeah. Oh, well.
Come in. The door's unlatched.
Good afternoon, Jonas. Am I late?
Yes, you're late. Then when are you ever on time? Well, a sprig of mistletoe. Such affluence.
Oh, it is nothing. Nothing at all.
Poor Fru Meisling. She gives away more than she sells.
Yes. She's a very good woman. Jonas...
Sit down, my friend, please. We must have a very long talk.
Then you've read my new stories?
Yes, I've read them. Tell me, what am I going to do with you?
That isn't important. What are you going to do with my stories?
What can I do with them? Nothing.
Jonas, if only you could understand...
Understand? Hans Christian Andersen, you drive a man beyond understanding. You write like an angel. Your words have wings, and you waste them. You throw them away on this drivel.
Jonas, you're not being very kind.
I'm being truthful. Hans, why do you do it? Why do you persist in this foolishness?
Foolishness is a point of view, my friend. I am very happy with what I write.
Good. Be happy. And be poor. With your talent, with your imagination, you could write the great Danish novel. A play which would pour money into your pockets.
I am happier as I am, writing the things I feel I must write.
But why, Hans? Tell me, why?
Must there always be a reason? All right, you shall have a reason. I am in love with all the people of all the world, and I have a message for them. A message which I can best plant in the spring, when the earth is green and the world is very young. It is a simple message, Jonas, of love and faith. And it takes root swiftly in the hearts of children. That is why I write for them. That is my life. That I shall continue to do. Now you have your reason.
Hans, you are a fool.
I know. Do I get my advance?
All right. But only because I am a fool, too.
Good. Then the world is not lost. If there is a rich fool for every poor fool, all will come out right in the end. Goodbye, Jonas, and thank you for your advice.
And the advance.
Oh, particularly the advance. A Merry Christmas to you, Jonas. Perhaps if you were to smile, just once, Fru Meisling might give you a sprig of mistletoe.
Merry Christmas, Hans. God go with you. Oh, my poor friend. My poor, foolish friend. He thinks of nothing but good for humanity, and life gives him so little in return. His heart is so full of kindness and love, and on Christmas Eve he is the loneliest man in all the world.
This warm and friendly holiday season of the year has always held special significance for all of us connected with Maxwell House Coffee. For at the famous old Maxwell House in Nashville, Tennessee, Christmas was the day of all days. On Christmas, this celebrated old hotel outdid itself in the bountiful hospitality of the season. Tennessee opossum, garnished head of wild Cumberland boar, white swan roasted in champagne. These and other delicacies were served in regal style when Christmas Day came round. But of all the delicacies the old Maxwell House offered, its coffee was praised the most. Blended in accordance with a treasured recipe, the flavor of this rare and mellow coffee held the essence of the joyous season. Today, Tennessee opossum and wild Cumberland boar are forgotten, perhaps, picturesque reminders of an earlier Christmas Day. Of old-fashioned Christmas cheer lives on and on. And in this spirit, the makers of Maxwell House Coffee extend the heartiest of Christmas greetings to you and yours.
Daddy?
Yes, Kathy?
Jonas Collins said he couldn't put Mr. Anderson's stories in a book. But they are in a book. I have it.
I know, Kathy. You see, he didn't really mean it. He published the stories all the time. And he sold them in every country in the world.
But if the man said he wouldn't...
Kathy, stop asking so many questions and let Father finish.
Gee whiz.
Go ahead, dear.
All right. Well, after Hans Christian Andersen left the home of his publisher, he walked slowly through the streets of Odense. He walked for hours, looking at the bright candles burning in all the windows, at the holly wreaths hanging on every door. People nodded to him as he strolled by, smiled at him, and wished him a Merry Christmas. And then, after he passed, they shook their heads sadly and sighed because of his loneliness. You see, they too thought of him as a lonely man, childless and desolate. And when he reached a narrow, crooked street on the edge of the city and climbed the long staircase that led to his room, it began to seem as if perhaps the people of Odense were right. It was a very simple room, bare as a room can be. There were no rugs on the floor, no pictures on the wall, but strangely, he didn't seem to mind. A tiny fir tree stood green and shimmering in a corner, and a comfortable fire burned warm and bright in the fireplace. Hans Christian hummed a cheerful song as he bustled about the room. And then, moving slowly down the narrow street, he heard the carolers come.
Oh, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. Although thy deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by. Yet in thy dark street shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. O holy child of Bethlehem, descend to us, we pray. Cast out our sin and enter in. Be born in us today.
wonderful. That was wonderful, my friends.
A Merry Christmas, Hans Christian.
And a Merry Christmas to you, to all of you. May God's blessings be on you to the end of your days, bring you great joy and happiness.
Thank you, Hans Christian, and God go with you.
Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come.
How can they say I'm a lonely man? What man can be lonely with friends such as these? What man can be sad on a night such as this? On every side, goodwill and peace. In every heart, love and kindness. No. If ever I am sad, it is not on the eve of Christmas Day. Ah, finally they are here. Come in. Come in, my children. There you are. My children. All my children have come home to see their father. And look at you. What wonderful, wonderful children you are. How you've grown.
We've missed you, Father Hans.
And I've missed you, Gerda. I've missed you all. My little tin soldiers.
I'm a big tin soldier, Father Hans.
You will always be my little tin soldier. And the nightingale. Karen with the little red shoes.
Hello, Father Hans.
And the Snow Queen.
How are you, Father Hans?
Look at him. How my ugly duckling has grown.
Father Hans.
Big claws and little claws. Thumbelina. The shepherdess and the chimney sweep. All of my children are here. All of them. I am the happiest father in all of Denmark.
Father Hans.
From all of their storybooks they have come. From nursery shelves all over the world.
Father Hans.
What a Merry Christmas this shall be. What a Merry Christmas indeed.
Father Hans.
Tin soldier, why must you always interrupt?
I have a question, Father Hans. A very serious question I must ask.
So soon, Tin soldier? I thought first my children would tell me of their adventures, of the things they have accomplished. It has been a long time, you know.
Oh, all right. But we must have discipline, Father Hans. They shall speak, but I shall be in command. First, Karen of the Red Shoes. Report to Father Hans.
Well, I brought warmth to the children of the world, Father Hans.
Good.
I taught them the folly of greed and the comfort of repentance. I spread the gospel of love and the wisdom of faith.
You did well, my child. You did very well.
Be quiet, Duckling. It is not your turn. Gerda, you are next. Report.
Well, I walked with children in their dreams and brought them happiness. I taught them the beauty of devotion and the wisdom of perseverance. That's what I did.
You did wonderfully, my daughter. Wonderfully well.
Duckling, be quiet. It is still not your turn. Snow Queen, you may report, but be brief.
I kissed 1,000 lips, Father Hans, and turned 1,000 hearts into lumps of ice. And Father Hans, I'm tired of being cruel and heartless. Why can't I be kind like the others?
Because, my Snow Queen, you are vanity. You teach your own lesson. You do good in your own way. That is your fate.
Duckling, for the last time I...
Wait, let him speak, Tin Soldier. He is so eager. Speak, my little duckling. I see. Well, you did very well. Very well indeed. I am proud of you. Now, Tin Soldier.
Father Hans, I have a complaint. Why do I have to have only one leg? It is very inconvenient.
If I can spend all of my days in endless dancing, certainly you can stand around on one leg.
Stand around? I fight 1,000 battles every day. I am the most valiant soldier of them all.
Valiant? Pooh. Being gobbled up by a fish? I suppose you call that valiant.
Children, please, we must not quarrel. Soon it will be midnight. You must return to your homes. But first, I must give you your Christmas gift. The most wonderful gift I can bestow. I give you all a new little sister, the Match Girl.
Welcome, little sister.
Well, hello, Match Girl. Father Hans.
Yes, Goethe?
Why doesn't she say something? Can't she talk?
No, Gerda, I fear not. But she carries with her a wonderful gift for the world. 3 matches, which can bring wisdom and comfort to all mankind. She strikes her first match, so. And to the eyes of man are revealed all the beauties of the earth. The whisper of wind in a leafy tree. A soft crown of light on an angry cloud. Birds soaring through a clear blue sky. The surf as it pounds on a winding shore. All of these and many more our match girl brings to the world. She strikes her second match. And in its light we find truth. Here is the wisdom of man and his conscience. Here is the hope of man and his sorrow. Here is the power of man to build a world of righteousness and justice. Here is peace for all mankind, if man will but accept it. Then the third match, the most important match of all, for it brings love. Look carefully, my children, and see what it reveals. Love of a man for a woman, of a woman for a man. Love of a parent for a child, and the love which is taught to us by God, who is our Father, the love of man for one another. Look again and see how in this love there is no prejudice, how it holds no restrictive covenants of color or creed. See how it glows in the hearts of men, worshiping in the church of their faith, whichever it may be, standing as equals in the sight of God. These are the lessons our match girl will teach. Now it is midnight, my children. It is Christmas Day, and there's work to be done. Now go back to your storybooks, to your countless shelves throughout the world. Teach the children of the world as I've taught you. Teach them beauty. Teach them truth. And teach them that which alone will bring them into the sight of God. Teach them love. $12 o'clock? I didn't know it was that late. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, Father.
All right, now, kids, up to bed.
Dad.
Yes, bud.
The tree looks fine.
Well, of course. I knew that all the time.
Good night, Father, and thank you.
You're welcome, Betty.
Daddy, the duck was cute.
I think you're cute, too.
Good night.
Good night, Kathy, dear.
Jim,
Yes, Margaret?
it's a wonderful story. Beautiful story. It makes me want to cry.
Well, I have a better idea. I'll take my first Christmas present. A kiss.
Merry Christmas, Jim.
Merry Christmas, my love. To you, to me, to every family in every country, in all the world. A very Merry Christmas. And may God bless us all.
To Father Anderson's Christmas wish, the makers of Post Wheatmeal would like to add their greeting. In this holiday season, may Christmas bring the most in happiness to you and yours. Father Knows Best was transcribed in Hollywood and written by Ed James. Join us again next week when we'll be back with Father Knows Best, starring Robert Young as Jim Anderson, with Roy Barkey and the Maxwell House Orchestra, and yours truly, Bill Foreman. So until next Thursday night, for myself and for the makers of Maxwell House Coffee, let me wish you again a very Merry, Merry Christmas indeed, and the happiest of holiday seasons.
Here Jack Webb and Dragnet. Later at Screen Directors on NBC.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A small boy is reported missing from his home. His age, 9 years. Foul play is suspected. Your job, find him.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So try comparing Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, December 22nd. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working a night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way into work, and it was 3:55 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide. Hi, Joe. Ben? Well, here's the file on the Webster case. And all the follow-ups been made? Yeah. I get it. Homicide, Friday.
This Levinson, Unit 113J, got something for you.
Yeah, Harry, what's doing?
Doherty and I are out here on Collis Avenue, 4656, trying to track down a 9-year-old boy.
Yeah, what's the story?
The kid's missing, suspicion of foul play.
How long's he been gone?
About 2 hours. Looks like a job for homicide.
How do you figure?
The kid was last seen playing in the backyard of his home.
Yeah?
We checked over the yard.
Did you find anything?
Bloodstains, lots of them. They look new.
Ben and I left a message for Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. Then we went over to the crime lab, picked up Lieutenant Lee Jones, and drove out the Arroyo Seco Freeway to Collis Avenue. It was an average neighborhood. Number 4656 was a one-story green stucco residence situated on the corner of Collis Avenue and Harrison Drive. Beyond the backyard was a tract of undeveloped land covered with scrub oak. Harry Levinson from Highland Park Juvenile was waiting for us in front of the house.
Get back this way, fellas.
Coming, Lee.
Till I get my bag.
Who notified you that the boy was missing, Harry?
The mother said she went out to do some Christmas shopping about 11 this morning, left the boy home.
Mm-hmm.
She came back about 2 this afternoon. He was gone.
What's the name?
Johnstone. The kid's name is Stanley, 9 years old.
Mm-hmm. Was this gate open like this when you got here?
Yeah, I haven't touched a thing. I hear the stains over here, Lieutenant Jones, along the edge of the walk. See? Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, quite a few stains, huh?
Yeah. Looks like it might be blood. Try some benzodine on him. There we are. See what happened.
Where's the kid's mother now, Harry?
Yeah, in the house. Doherty's talking to her.
Did you talk to any of the neighbors?
People next door, the ones on this side. They couldn't tell us anything.
There it is, fellas.
Yeah, Lee.
These spots I covered with benzodine are turning blue. Bloodstains, all right. Can't say definitely whether it's human or animal blood.
Mm-hmm. You have to go back to the lab to run it through?
Yeah, biological precipitant test. Hand me one of those glass files from my bag, will you?
Yeah, sure. Okay, here you go.
Thanks. Scrape some flakes off for a test. There we are. How soon can you tap the blood for us, Lee? Precipitin test won't run more than 20 minutes. It'll take 3 or 4 hours to run a blood grouping, though. That's it. Anything else you want to check?
Levinson? Anything else?
Yeah, right here in my handkerchief. Empty shell. That marker over there by the rose bush? That's where I found it.
From a 22, huh?
Yeah, might tie in, might not.
Mark it and dump it in this envelope, will you?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah. Did you get out a missing broadcast on the boy here?
Doherty did about a half an hour ago. Here's a description here.
Thank you.
Your mother know about the blood stain?
No, we didn't tell her. She's worried enough already.
And she has no idea what might have happened to her boy, huh?
No more than we do. She checked all her friends and relatives. We're covering the neighborhood. No trace so far.
Not much to go on.
Bloodstains. Empty cartridge.
Yeah, it could mean 100 things.
Any ideas, Friday?
Just one, and I don't like it. .30 p.m. Thursday, December 22nd. The neighborhood search for 9-year-old Stanley Johnstone continued. Lee Jones went back to the crime lab to start the precipitin test and the blood grouping. Levinson and his partner Doherty from Highland Juvenile stood by. We called Chief of Detectives Thad Brown, and he ordered up a special detail to aid in the search for the missing boy. Ben and I questioned the boy's mother, Mrs. Ruth Johnstone, a woman in her early 40s. She seemed fairly calm under the circumstances.
Miss Johnson, is your boy Stanley in the habit of wandering off without telling you where he's going?
No, he's not in the habit of wandering off, but he has done it before.
Well, when was the last time, Miss Johnson?
You don't have any children, do you, Sergeant Friday?
No, ma'am, I'm not married.
Well, there comes a time in every young boy's life when he feels it is time to leave home, go out on his own. Usually happens somewhere around 8 to 10.
I think I know what you mean. I have a boy.
Well, then you know how it is. My husband and I scolded Stanley one afternoon after school, and he was quite put out about it. Thought George and I were unfair. Packed a few of his things and left.
Well, how long was he gone?
Oh, no time at all, about 2 hours. I was worried about him, but my husband said to leave him alone. Said every boy had to go through that stage.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you think that he's run away from home again this time?
Yes, I think so. He's been gone about 4 hours now, and I have a funny feeling about it.
Did you and his father have some misunderstanding with the boy recently?
That's just it. We haven't. I don't mind telling you now that we're talking about it. I am getting worried.
Is there any place around that he might like to visit, a hobby shop, playground, someplace he might be?
Yes, there's Jensen's model shop, Little Shannon Burroughs, but I've already called there and he hasn't been seen all day. I've called all his friends and they have no idea where he is either.
Well, we'd like a list of all of his friends and the places that he was known to frequent.
Yes, all right, I'll give them to you. Where do you suppose he is?
Where's your husband now, Miss Johnson?
At work. George works at the city. He's a fireman.
What house is he stationed at?
Engine Company 12. He's working the A platoon. He'll be home tomorrow morning. I haven't told him Stanley's gone.
Well, is there any chance the boy might be down at the firehouse with his father?
No, he seldom goes down there anymore. No, I don't think he's there. I'm awfully worried. May I call my husband?
Well, certainly. Go right ahead.
I know George will be worried. Engine Company 12, please. Stanley's been gone too long. Hello? May I please speak with George Johnstone? This is Mrs. Johnstone. Thank you. Oh, I hate to call George at his work.
Yes, ma'am. Does your husband own a gun?
Yes, he does.
What caliber, do you know?
It's a .45 automatic. He got a knock. George, this is Ruth. George, is Stanley down there with you by any chance? Oh. No, I can't find him anywhere. He wasn't here when I came home from doing my shopping. There are 2 policemen here. No, I said there are 2 policemen here. No, dear, I'll call you if we don't find him soon. All right, dear. Yes, you too. Goodbye. I didn't think he'd be with George.
That .45, is that the only gun in the household?
Yes. Why are you asking about guns? Has anything happened that you're not telling me about?
No, ma'am, just routine checking. We'll have to take a look at that .45 if you don't mind.
Maybe I should tell you we do have another gun in the house, but it's all wrapped up. George bought it for Stanley's Christmas present.
What if we could see it, please?
Yes, well, will you have to unwrap it?
Yes, ma'am, I think so.
It's in the closet. I think I can reach it. We had to hide it. Let me see. Well, there's a paper it was wrapped in, and Stanley must have found it. It's gone. You see, here's the gift card and the box the gun came in, the rifle.
I wonder if I could look at that box, ma'am. Thank you.
How about it, Joe? 22 caliber. Thursday, December 22nd, 5:15 p.m. It was getting dark. The search for the missing boy continued. We checked the list of Stanley Johnstone's friends. None of them or their parents had any idea of his whereabouts. We talked with Levinson again. He'd been in touch with the detail combing the neighborhood. They'd found nothing. We went down to Collis Avenue and 10th Street, service station on the corner.
One nickel, Joe?
No, I got one. Will you watch the phone?
Yeah.
City Hall?
2667, please.
2667?
Crime Lab, Jones.
Hi, Lee. Joe Friday.
Yeah, Joe. Any sign of the Johnson kid?
No, not yet. How are you coming?
Finished the precipitant test. It's human blood.
Yeah?
Working on the blood group now. You know what type the Johnson boy has?
Well, I didn't want to upset his mother. Thought I'd wait till the last thing. We're in the neighborhood.
Check with the family physician. That way you won't disturb her.
Yeah, I figured on that. Just a minute, Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, babe.
Most is pulled up.
Okay. Thad Brown's out here now. I'll check you later, Lee, huh?
All right, Joe.
Right, bye.
Oh, here's what, Joe.
Gentlemen, how's it going?
We just checked with Lee Jones.
Yeah, I know. It's human blood. What do you think?
We talked with the boy's mother, Mrs. Johnstone. Found a gun missing.
Yeah?
Caliber's the same as the empty casing Levinson found. It's 22.
You said the gun was missing?
Yeah, the Johnstones were going to give it to the boys a Christmas present. They had it hidden, but it's gone.
Any idea who took it?
Well, they left the Christmas wrapping behind. I think it was the kid.
22 rifle, huh? 9-year-old boy. What is he going to learn? First, it's carbide cannons on the 4th of July. The city issued ordinance after ordinance. A few thousand kids around the country had to lose their eyes, fingers, hands before the parents would give us their full cooperation to outlaw them.
I know what you mean.
Sure you do. You and every other cop in the country became the heavies trying to clamp down on them. It's always the same story. This time it's guns for Christmas.
Well, I know what you're thinking, but we're not sure yet.
Listen, Friday. There's a city ordinance against giving a gun to a kid. You know that.
Yeah, I know that.
There's a missing boy and a missing gun. There's blood on the ground and an empty shell. That's enough for me.
Well, we're going to stay with it. Something's got to break.
Yeah? I hope it's not the hearts of that kid's parents.
Hi, Chief. Been looking for you, Friday.
What do you got, Harry?
Found the gun. New 22 rifle. That has been fired recently.
Where'd you find it, Levinson?
Back up there in that scrub oak behind the Johnstone house. Mrs. Johnstone identified it. Buckley took it down to crime lab.
Thanks, Harry. Miss Johnstone okay?
Pretty sick now. Doherty came up with something else.
What's that?
There's another one missing. An 8-year-old boy.
6:30 p.m. We talked with Officer Doherty about the other missing boy. He told us that his name was Stephen Moorheim, 8 years old. His family had just moved into the neighborhood. It seemed that no one besides the Moorheim family knew that the boys played together. Mrs. Moorheim told us that Stephen told her that he was going out to play and he'd be home by 6 o'clock for dinner. She told us that he was an unusually prompt boy and almost never overstayed his playtime. We got a description of the Moorheim boy and put out a missing broadcast. We called the Johnstones' family doctor. He told us that Stanley's blood was type O. At 7 p.m., we talked again with Mrs. John Moorheim.
Are you sure Mrs. Johnstone doesn't know where the boys are?
She has no idea, Mrs. Moorheim.
Oh, this is terrible. Just awful. I feel there's more to this thing, something you're not telling me.
There's no use to upset you until we know a few things for sure.
And you're holding back something.
Well, no, please try not to worry, Miss Moorheim. There are certain things that we're going to have to ask you, routine questions in any kind of investigation.
Is there anything else you want to know?
Yes, ma'am. What is your boy's blood type?
It's a funny question. Do you think anything's happened to him? Have you found him and you're not telling me?
No, ma'am, we haven't found him, and we don't think anything's happened to him.
His blood type.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think I have it written down in Stevie's baby book. Yes, here it is. It's type O.
Thank you. I wonder if I might use your phone?
Yes, of course, it's in the hall.
I'll be right back, Ben.
City Hall.
2667, please.
2667?
Crime lab, thank you.
All right, this is Joe Friday. Is Lee there?
Just a minute, Joe.
Take 2, Lee. Jones speaking.
Checking back, Lee.
Did you get the blood types on the 2 missing boys?
Yeah, both type O.
So are the stains, Joe. Type O.
You are listening to Dragnet for the solution to an actual case from official police files. Now, here's a real solution to many of your Christmas shopping problems.
If your friends smoke long cigarettes, give the best of long cigarettes. Give king-size Fatima.
You see, Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended, to give smokers a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes, rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality. Even to the appearance of the distinctive royal blue Fatima gift carton. Christmas wrapped and carefully sealed to ensure Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Remember, Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
So this Christmas, give your friends the best. Give Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes.
8 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. Still no sign of either of the missing boys. Chief Detective Thad Brown went back to headquarters to direct the search from there. He dispatched another detail of 50 men to aid in the hunt for the missing youngsters. 8:30 p.m. It was getting colder. The citrus growers were warned to expect a freeze. We went up the block to see Mrs. Johnstone. Her husband had quit work early and returned home. We talked with him. He could tell us nothing more than we already knew. We still had not informed either of the families about the bloodstains and the empty cartridge casing, which had been discovered in the backyard of the Johnstone home. It was more than possible that they had a right to know about our findings, but Ben and I felt there was no cause to add to the distress of the two families at this time. If the two missing boys were found alive and well, then the bloodstains and the cartridge would be of no concern to the relieved parents. At 8:40 p.m., Ben and I left the Johnstone house and went to the home of Mr. and Mrs. John Moorheim.
Miss Moorheim, you said your husband worked at a market?
Yes, he telephoned about 15 minutes ago, said he was closing up right away. He'll be here any minute. I wish Stevie would call, come home. It's so cold out tonight. All he had on was a thin cotton jacket.
We'll try not to worry. We're doing everything we can. He'll be all right.
And Stevie's father's such a sensitive man. He and the boy are so close. I know he's terribly upset.
Now, you're sure there's no place that you might have forgotten, someplace where the boy might be?
No place. No. If anything's happened to the boy, it'll just kill John.
No. You sit still. I'll get it, Miss Moore.
Joe?
Yeah, Harry.
The Johnstone kid, he's been found.
He's home, Sergeant. He's come home. Thank God he's all right.
Where's he been? Did he tell you?
No, he didn't. His clothes are all dirty and he's acting strange. I've never seen him like this.
How do you mean, Miss Johnston?
Well, he just came to the front door and said, "Hello, Mom." He sat down in a chair and stared at the floor. Won't talk to his father or me.
Do you mind if I talk to him?
No, go ahead. I asked him about the little Moorheim boy, but he wouldn't tell me a thing.
Where is he now?
Right over there in the living room.
Looks all right.
Yes. Son, this is a police officer. He wants to talk to you. Don't be afraid, dear. He only wants to ask you some questions. Son. You see, Sergeant?
Stanley, look at me, son. Come on, youngster. Get your head up there. That's better. You had your mother pretty worried. You know that. You want to tell us where you've been?
We should try to get him to eat a little something.
You hear that, son? Want something to eat? Stanley, there's another little boy up the street who hasn't come home. You know where he is? His father and mother are worried about him, too. Just like your folks were. We're going to ask you to help us find him.
I killed him. I killed Steve with the .22. We were only playing, but I killed him.
How do you know you killed him? Maybe he's only hurt now, isn't it?
No, he's dead. I know he's dead. The gun went off. I forgot we put bullets in there.
Where is he, Stanley?
I hid him. I was scared. I didn't want anybody to find him.
Where did you hide him, son?
In a cave up on the hill. I didn't mean it.
He was my pal.
You want to show us where, Stanley?
Yes, I'll show you. Please, don't send me to jail.
"9:15 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. 9-year-old Stanley Johnstone led the way up the hill behind the backyard of his home. He showed us the wagon he moved the body in. His father came along with us. About 50 feet from the crest of the hill, the boy pointed to a thicket of scrub oak. There we found a small cave holding the body of Stephen Moorheim. There was a single bullet wound in his chest just below his heart. He was dead. We covered the body.
Stanley, how did it happen?
I knew my folks were going to give me the gun for Christmas. I knew where it was, and I got it. There was a box of bullets with it.
Were you pointing the gun at Stevenson?
No, sir. No, sir, I wasn't. It was Steve's turn to play with it. I was chasing him. Tripped over that stump there, and he fell. Gun hit him in the stomach, and it went off.
Well, why do you think you killed him if you're telling us the truth?
I'm telling the truth. Yes, that's the truth.
Well, I believe you, son, but why do you think you killed him?
It was my gun. Stevie'd still be alive if I didn't go and get it. Should have waited till Christmas. It's all my fault.
Well, where have you been all this time?
In the cave with Steve.
Well, what were you doing in there, son?
I was praying. I was praying for God to make him alive again.
After a thorough investigation, Ben and I were convinced that the shooting of Stephen Moorheim was accidental. Lieutenant Lee Jones' findings substantiated the Johnstone boy's story even to the smallest detail. We put in a call to the coroner's office and acquainted him with the facts. He designated a local mortuary to handle the body pending autopsy and granted us permission to remove the body to the Moorheim home. Mrs. Moorheim collapsed. The family doctor was called. Ben and I sat in the living room to wait for John Moorheim, the dead boy's father.
Edith? Edith?
Mr. Moorheim?
Yeah, you the police?
Yes.
Well, where's Edith? Where's my wife? Has my boy come home? You found him?
Yes, sir.
Well, where is he? Steve? Stevie? Where's Steve? He's hurt, isn't he?
Yes, sir, he is.
Well, where is he? I want to see him.
He's hurt bad, Mr. Moorheim.
Where is he? I want to see him. How bad?
Pretty bad.
He's dead. All right, if I go in.
Yes, sir, if you want to.
Will you go with me?
Sure. Don't make it any harder on yourself, Mr. Moorheim.
I want to see my boy.
Mr. Moorheim.
Listen to me, son. We got you a lot of nice things for Christmas. Everything you wanted. I got you the 3 new cars for the train. That one with a searchlight on it really works, son. Got you that new switch you wanted. A lot more track. Oh, now you can have big layout. And you know that new baseball mitt we saw? I got it for you. The cowboy outfit you want.
Mr. Moorheim.
On you. What happened?
It was an accident. He was playing with a Johnstone boy up the street. Playing with a gun. It went off.
What was the other boy's name?
Stanley Johnstone. It was an accident.
Mr. Moorheim, where are you going?
I want to see that boy.
We had no idea what the dead boy's father had in mind. We didn't feel that we should try to restrain him. We went along with him up the street to the Johnstone home.
I'm Stevie's father. Where's your boy?
I'm sorry. We bought the rifle. We were going to tell him not to use it unless his father was with him until he learned how to treat firearms.
Where's your boy?
Right here. Won't you come in?
It's all right, Miss Johnstone.
You're the boy that was with Stevie?
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
Stanley.
I know it wasn't your fault, Stanley. Wonder if you'd do something for me.
Yes, sir.
Got a lot of nice presents for Stevie. I know he'd want you to have them. I want to give them to you Christmas Eve.
Mom?
I think that'd be a fine idea, son.
Come on, man.
Well, what's it all prove, Joe?
You don't give a kid a gun for Christmas.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 24th, 1948, a coroner's inquest was held in the county morgue, city and county of Los Angeles, state of California. In a moment, the results of that inquest.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. To get year-round thanks for the gift you give this Christmas, give cartons of Fatimas to every long cigarette smoker on your list. Christmas Fatimas in the special royal blue slip-over jacket make a perfect gift just as is. And to my friends who sell Fatimas, the retail dealers and the wholesale distributors all over America, to each one of you, a special season's greeting. And to everyone, a Merry Christmas.
At the coroner's inquest, it was officially recorded that Stephen Moreheimer's death was the result of an accident. Stanley Johnstone was absolved of any legal responsibility for his friend's death. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
This is Bob Hope. Can we steal a second?
Chesterfield, always wins first place. That milder, mild tobacco never leaves an aftertaste.
So open a pack, give 'em a smell.
Then you smoke 'em.
Don't forget to give Crosby for Christmas. I mean a Chesterfield Christmas carton with Bing as Papa Santa Claus. See you Tuesday.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
We the People is next with more Good Times on NBC.
Screen Directors Playhouse, star Edmund Gwen, production Miracle on 34th Street, director George Seaton.
This is the Screen Directors Playhouse, the Thursday night feature on NBC's All-Star Festival of Comedy, Music, Mystery, and Drama, brought to you by RCA Victor, world leader in radio, first in recorded music, first in television. Chesterfield, the only cigarette that combines mildness with no unpleasant aftertaste, the cigarette that brings you Bing Crosby and Bob Hope, and the makers of Anacin for fast relief from the pain of headache, neuritis, and neuralgia. the Hollywood Screen Directors presents a Christmas party for the 500 special girls and boys gathered here in our studio and for children of all ages everywhere. We present the delightful motion picture Christmas story, Miracle on 34th Street, starring Edmund Gwenn in his original Academy Award-winning role of Kris Kringle. There is something electric about Christmas time in New York. From Thanksgiving on, the air is charged with excitement. And it's on Thanksgiving Day that Maisie's Christmas Parade is forming for its joyous annual trek down Fifth Avenue. On the sidewalk, watching the bustle and commotion, stands a little old man. Resting easily on his cane, his bright eyes dart over the scene. He strokes his flowing white beard. And as he sees the parade Santa Claus in front of him, a merry smile turns his face into a mass of happy wrinkles. If you were to see him, you would think instantly of your own chimney, stockings hanging from the mantel, and that very face smiling at you from the flames of your fireplace. Suddenly his brow darkens, and he strides importantly forward.
Hello there.
Hello yourself.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're making a very serious mistake.
Huh?
With the reindeer, I mean. You've got Prancer where Blitzen should be. And Dasher should go on my right-hand side.
Oh, he should, Judy.
Oh, yes.
Look, Bud, I'm busy, see, and
Are you having trouble with your whip?
It's none of your darn business, but I'm all snarled up in the doggone thing.
Yeah, here, I'll help you. You see, it's all in the wrist, and... You've been drinking.
That's cold. Man's got to do something to keep warm.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Don't you realize there are thousands of children lining the streets waiting to see you? Children who've been dreaming of this moment for weeks? You're a disgrace to the tradition of Christmas, and I refuse to have you malign me in this fashion. Who's in charge of this parade?
Oh, go away.
If you don't tell me who's in charge here, I'll tell the police officer that you're drunk.
All right. Mrs. Walker. There she is, across there.
Oh.
The one in blue.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker?
Yes? Oh, you! What do you mean taking your costume off? Now you get dressed and get back up on your float.
Me?
Oh, I'm very sorry. I thought you were our Santa Claus.
Your Santa Claus is intoxicated.
Oh, no. Don't tell me.
Shameful. I won't stand for having these children disappointed.
Well, I wonder, could you be Santa Claus? Have you had any experience?
Well, a little.
Would you? Please, you've got to help me out.
Madam, I am not in the habit of substituting for spurious Santa Clauses. However, these children mustn't be disappointed. No, I'll do it.
Oh, thank heaven. You'll never know how grateful I am. Get on your float, Santa, and thank you. Oh, Mr. Shellhammer?
Yes?
I turn it over to you, Mr. Shellhammer.
You've done a magnificent job on it. And your new Santa Claus looks wonderful. Why, I hadn't noticed him until just now. He's the best we've ever had. Where'd you find him?
I just turned around, and there he was.
Well, I'm glad you turned around. I mean, I'm glad he was there. You just think if Mr. Macy had seen the other one.
Just think if Mr. Gimble had seen the other one.
Oh, don't even say that. What are you going to ride in the parade?
Subway. I'm going home and getting a hot tub. And I might stay right there until next Thanksgiving.
Susan, look at the parade.
I've seen it before. The music's pretty.
Yes, it is.
Mother will be home soon, Mr. Gailey.
I hope so.
It would be nice for you to meet her.
Yes, I'd like that. But not before the parade's over.
Oh, the parade.
Say, look at that big baseball player.
He was a clown last year. They just changed the head and painted him different. My mother told me.
Wow, he's really a giant, isn't he?
Not really. There are no giants, Mr. Gailey.
Well, maybe not now, Susan. But in olden days...
Not even then.
Well, what about the giant that Jack killed?
Jack who?
Well, Jack and the Beanstalk.
I never heard of that.
You must have. You've just forgotten. It's a fairy tale.
Oh, one of those. I don't know any fairy tales.
You mean your mother or father never read you any?
My mother thinks they're silly. I don't know whether my father thinks they're silly or not. I never met my father. You see, my father and mother were divorced when I was a baby.
Oh. Well, that baseball player still looks like a giant to me.
People sometimes grow very big, but that's abnormal.
Your mother tell you that, too?
Yes?
Well, hello.
Oh, I'm Fred Gailey, Mrs. Walker.
Yes, I know. Susie's told me quite a bit about you.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, dear. How was the parade?
Much better than last year.
Well, thank you. I hope Mr. Maisie agrees with you. I'm so glad you came in, Mr. Gailey. I wanted to thank you for being so kind, Susan. Theo told me you took them both to the zoo yesterday.
Yes, that's right. But I must confess that was part of a deep-dyed plot.
Oh.
I'm fond of Susie, very fond of her. But I also wanted to know you. I read somewhere that the surest way to meet the mother was to be kind to the child. Well, it worked.
What a horrible trick.
The parade's almost over. Mother, here comes the Santa Claus.
Oh, don't even mention the name.
He's better than last year's. At least this one doesn't wear glasses.
I see she doesn't believe in Santa Claus either.
No, of course she doesn't.
No Santa Claus, no fairy tales, no fantasies of any kind. Is that it?
That's right. I think we should be realistic and completely truthful with our children. Not let them grow up believing in a lot of myths and legends, like Santa Claus, for example.
I see. Yes. Well, Mrs. Walker, I'm so glad to have met you at last. I do hope you'll let me drop in again.
Mother.
Yes, dear?
I was thinking, we've got such a big Thanksgiving turkey for dinner, and there are only 2 of us. Couldn't we invite Mr. Gailey? Couldn't we?
Well, dear.
Oh, please, don't even think about it.
It's an awful big turkey.
Well, it's not that, dear, but I'm sure Mr. Gailey has other plans.
No, he hasn't. He said so, and he told me to ask you.
Oh, dear.
Didn't I ask all right, Mr. Gailey?
Dinner's at 3 o'clock.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Our story will continue in just a moment. But now here's a word from RCA Victor. When you go to select your television set for Christmas, you'll surely want to see a complete RCA Victor combination before you decide. You'll want to see an RCA Victor because it's America's favorite television. It's million-proof, proven in well over 1 million homes. And you'll want to see a complete RCA Victor television radio phonograph combination because here's your chance to get console television, console radio, console phonograph at a price far below the cost of all these services with comparable quality. They're magnificent affairs which give you in one beautiful cabinet 2 RCA Victor radios, AM and FM, and 2 RCA Victor automatic record changers, in addition to RCA Victor million-proof television. You'll find them better looking, better performing in every way. But what will wed you to one of them for life is the fact that they give you so much for so little. Yes, they'll make you say, this is truly a wonderful buy. Remember, see your RCA Victor dealer for a million-proof television combination tomorrow. Here now is Act 2 of the Screen Directors Playhouse presentation of Miracle on 34th Street, starring Edmund Gwenn as Kris Kringle. Thanksgiving Day is over. Macy's Christmas Parade was a smashing success, and the new Santa Claus something of a sensation. There seemed to be an intangible quality about the old fellow which communicated itself to the children which lined the route. Mr. Shellhammer has persuaded him to come down to the store the next morning and try his hand in the toy department. As we look into the employees' locker room, we find Chris in a magnificent Santa Claus costume just pulling on his boots.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
My, what a striking costume. Did we provide you with that?
Oh, no. I've had it for years and years.
I see. Well, before you go up on the floor, I want to give you a few tips on how to be a good Santa Claus.
Oh, go right ahead.
Well, here's a list of toys we have to push. You know, things that we're overstocked on.
Oh.
Now, you'll find that a great many children will be undecided as to what they want for Christmas. When that happens, you immediately suggest one of these items.
Eh?
Understand?
I certainly do.
Good. Now, you memorize this list, and when you finish, come up to the 7th floor. I'll be waiting for you. And don't be too long now.
Imagine making a child take something he doesn't want just because a man like that bought too many of the wrong toys. That's what I've been fighting against for years. The way they commercialize Christmas. Well, I can't think of a better place to start this year's campaign, nor a better way to start than by tearing up this list. Oh. There. I feel better already.
Santa Claus, my name is Peter.
Peter? Oh, yes. Peter's a fine name. And what do you want for Christmas, Peter?
I want a fire engine, just like the big ones, only smaller. That's got real horses, and it'll squirt real wet water. And I won't do it in the house, just in the backyard. Cross my heart and hope to die.
Oh, well, Peter, I can tell you're a good boy. You'll get your fire engine.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. See, Mom, I told you he'd get me one.
Well, yes, dear. Now, you run over and look at the toys. Mummy wants to thank Santa Claus, too.
Okay.
What do you mean by saying a thing like that? You saw me shake my head at you. I was trying to tell you I couldn't find one. I looked all over. They're just not making that kind of fire engine.
No. You don't think I'd have said that unless I was sure, do you? Let's see what my little book says. Now, here we are. The Acme Toy Company at 246 West 26th Street. And they're only $8.50. A wonderful bargain.
You're recommending this company?
Oh, I keep track of the toy market pretty closely. Well, does that surprise you so?
Oh, it's not that so much, but what really bowls me over is that Macy's is sending me to another store.
Well, the only important thing is to make the children happy, isn't it? And whether Macy or somebody else sells the toy doesn't make any difference. Well, don't you feel that way?
Yes, but I never dreamed that Macy's did.
Well, as long as I'm here, they do. Now, you'll find just what you want at FAO Schwartz, $6.75. Now, Bloomingdale's, that's exactly what the little girl wants. $2.49, that's all. But for Johnny's wagon, I'd suggest you, yes, I suggest you get it here. We have the best wagons in town. Now, oh, yes, we have skates. And they're very good skates, too, but they're not quite what your little boy wants. No. Now, I'd suggest you go across the street. They have exactly what you're looking for there. At Gimbel's. Gimbel's?
Oh, you frightened me.
Oh, this is Mr. Shellhammer. He's head of our toy department.
Well, I came back to congratulate you and Macy's on this new stunt you're doing.
What?
Imagine sending people to other stores. I don't get it.
It certainly is.
You said it. To think that a big store like this puts the spirit of Christmas ahead of the commercial. It's wonderful. Well, I've never done much shopping here, but believe me, from now on, I'm a regular Macy customer.
Well, thank you, madam.
And thank you, too. And there'll be hundreds of other women who feel just the way I do, too. Now, I tell you...
I must be going mad. I've never heard of such a thing in all my life.
Well, you'll find she's right, Mr. Shellhammer. A lot of people are going to like it. An awful lot of people.
Yeah, but the point is, will Mr. Macy like it?
This seems like an awful silly thing for us to be doing, Mr. Gailey.
Well, I thought as long as we were in the store, you might as well say hello to him.
Why?
Because maybe when you talk to him, you'll feel differently about Santa Claus.
Maybe.
Hello, young lady. Would you like to come up and sit on my lap?
No, thank you.
No? What's your name?
Susan Walker. What's yours?
Mine, Kris Kringle. I'm Santa Claus.
Ha!
Oh, You don't believe that, do you?
Nope. You see, my mother is Mrs. Walker, the lady who hired you. But I must say you're the best-looking one I've ever seen. Your whiskers aren't loose at the sides.
Well, you pull them. Go on, let's see why.
I will.
Ooh.
Hey, they don't come off.
That's because they're real. Just like I'm really Santa Claus. Now, what would you like me to bring you for Christmas?
Nothing, thank you.
Oh, now, you must want something.
Whatever I want, Mother will get for me. Oh, if it's sensible and doesn't cost too much, of course.
Susan!
Hello, Mother.
Hello, Mr. Gailey.
Hi.
Come along, Susan. I think you've taken up enough of this gentleman's time.
Goodbye, Susan. Bye.
Bye.
The explanation for all this is very simple. Your Cleo's mother sprained her ankle.
Yes, I know. Cleo called me. I've been wondering where you were.
He's a nice old man, Mother. And those whiskers are real, too.
Yes, dear. Many men have long beards like that. Susan, would you mind sitting here for a minute? I'd like to talk to Mr. Gailey.
All right.
I shouldn't have brought Susie to Santa Claus, huh? Well, I'm sorry. Just that I couldn't see any great harm in merely saying hello to the old gent.
But I think there is harm. I tell her Santa Claus is a myth. You bring her down here, she sees thousands of gullible children and meets with a very convincing old man with real whiskers. This sets up within her a harmful mental conflict. What is she to think? Whom is she going to believe?
Go on.
And by filling them full of fairy tales, they grow up considering life a fantasy instead of a reality. They keep waiting for a Prince Charming to come along, and when he does, he turns out to be...
We were talking about Susie, not you.
Well, whether you agree with me or not, I must ask you to respect my wishes regarding Susan. She's my responsibility, and I must bring her up as I see fit.
Okay, she's your kid.
Exactly. Now I've got to go back to my office.
You know, you've given me quite a bit to think about. Both about Susan and you. So long.
Come in.
They said you wanted to see me, Mrs. Walker?
Yes, please come in.
Hello there, Susan Walker. Oh, it's good to see you again.
It's awful nice to see you.
Oh, you're awfully lucky, Mrs. Walker. That's a lovely little girl you have there.
Thank you. And Susan's the reason I asked you to come here.
Oh.
She's a little confused, and maybe you can help to straighten her out.
I'll be glad to.
Would you please tell her that you're not really Santa Claus? That there actually is no such person?
Well, I'm sorry to disagree with you, Mrs. Walker, but not only is there such a person, but here I am to prove it.
No, you misunderstand. I want you to tell the truth. What is your name?
Kris Kringle. Susan, I'll bet you're in the first grade.
Second. I mean your real name.
Well, that is my real name. Second grade?
It's a progressive school.
Oh.
Miss Adams, please bring in the Santa Claus file. Hold the employment cards.
That hat of yours is very cute. Where do you get such a lovely outfit?
Macy's. We get 10% off.
Now, please don't feel that you have to keep pretending for Susan's benefit. She's an intelligent child and always wants to know the absolute truth.
Good, because I always tell the absolute truth. Now, Susan, about your school. What's the name of your teacher?
Oh, thank you, Miss Adams. Now then, is this your card?
Let's see. Yes, that's it.
Name, Kris Kringle. Address, Brooks Memorial Home, Great Neck, Long Island. Age, as old as my tongue, and a little bit older than my teeth. Susan, dear, you go in and talk to Miss Adams for a few minutes. I'll be right with you.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye, young lady. Hope to see you again.
Thank you. I hope so, too.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Kringle.
I'm sorry, but we're going to have to make a change.
Change?
Yes, the Santa Claus we had 2 years ago is back in town, and I feel we owe it to him to come...
What? Have I done something wrong?
No. Excuse me. Mrs. Walker?
Mrs. Walker, Mr. Maisie speaking. I have just been informed of the new policy you and Mr. Shellhammer initiated without consulting me or the advertising department. I do not approve of your methods, but in the face of the tremendous response on the part of the public, I can't be angry with you. I admit it sounds ridiculous to me. Imagine Macy's Santa Claus sending customers to Gimbel's. But you cannot argue with success. From now on, not only will our Santa Claus continue in this manner, but I want every salesperson in this store to do precisely the same thing. If we haven't got exactly what the customer wants, We'll send him where he can get it. We'll be known as the helpful store, the friendly store, the store with a heart. That's a wonderful Santa Claus you've got there, Mrs. Walker. Don't lose him. You will find a more practical expression of my gratitude in your Christmas envelope, Mrs. Walker. My congratulations.
That was Mr. Maisie.
Talks a lot, doesn't he?
Sometimes. Mr. Maisie suggested we find something else for the other Santa Clauses and keep you on.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. That's mighty good news.
You'll be here in the morning?
I certainly will. You see, this is quite an opportunity for me. For the last 50 years or so, I've been getting more and more worried about Christmas. It seems we're all so busy trying to beat the other fellow in making things go faster and look shinier that Christmas and I are getting sort of lost in the shuffle.
Oh, I don't think so. Christmas is still Christmas.
Yes, Christmas isn't just a day. No, it's a frame of mind. And that's what's been changing. That's why I'm glad I'm here. Maybe I can do something about it. And I think you and Susan are going to help me more than anybody.
We are. How?
Well, you two are sort of the whole thing in miniature. If I can win you over, then there's still hope. If not, well, I warn you, I don't give up easily. No. Good night, Mrs. Walker.
Good night, Mr. Kringle.
And now, folks, let's eavesdrop on Bing Crosby and Bob Hope in their dressing room, discussing their sponsor.
The Chesterfield people are wonderful to work for.
But Chesterfield didn't hire us for radio alone, you know. We got to do a lot of personal work for the firm.
That's right. We're here in San Francisco on a very special mission.
I'm working the mural room at the St. Francis, and Bob is cigarette girl at the top of the market.
They tried Crosby at the top of the mark, but he got the bends.
Seriously, friends, Skinflint and I, we do agree 100% on this. Chesterfields are milder.
And they leave no unpleasant aftertaste. So always buy our cigarette, Chesterfield.
The best cigarette for you to smoke.
Chesterfield, always wins first place. That milder, mild tobacco never leaves an aftertaste.
So open a pack, give 'em a smell.
Then you smoke 'em.
Don't forget to give Crosby for Christmas. I mean the Chesterfield Christmas carton with Bing as Papa Santa Claus.
You are listening to the Screen Director's Playhouse, the Thursday night feature of NBC's All-Star Festival. The third act of Miracle on 34th Street will continue after a brief pause for station identification. Now for the third act of the Screen Director's Playhouse presentation of Miracle on 34th Street, starring Edmund Gwenn in his original role of Kris Kringle. Business is booming at Macy's. Kris Kringle's popularity is growing by leaps and bounds. Doris Walker is still worried because she cannot dismiss the thought that Kris is slightly unbalanced. And this seems logical to her because he obviously thinks he is Santa Claus. Fred Gailey, however, feels differently and has brought the old gentleman home to dinner. Kris has dropped into Doris's apartment to call on Susan.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for inviting me to dinner.
It was a great pleasure.
Susan, I'm going to try again. I want a chance to prove to you that there is a Santa Claus. Well, there must be something you want for Christmas. Something you haven't even told your mother about?
No, there isn't.
Oh, now. Why don't you give me a chance, eh?
All I want a house for Christmas.
Oh, you mean a doll's house?
No, a real house.
Huh?
And if you're really Santa Claus, you can get it for me. And if you can't, you're only a nice man with a white beard like Mommy says.
Now. Wait a minute, Susie. Just because every child can't get his wish, now that doesn't mean there isn't a Santa Claus.
That's what I thought you'd say.
Yeah, but don't you see, some children wish for things they couldn't possibly use. Like real locomotives or B-29s.
But this isn't like a real locomotive or a B-29.
Well, it's awful big for a little girl like you. Now, what could you possibly do with a house?
Live in it with my mother.
Well, but you've got this lovely apartment.
I don't think it's lovely. I want a backyard with a swing and a garden and lots of things growing in it.
Oh.
But I guess you can't get it, huh?
Well, no. No, I didn't say that. It's a tall order, you know, Susie, but I'll do my best.
Okay.
Okay, Susie. Let's have some dinner now, shall we? Huh? After that, I'll go to work on your problem.
Good morning, Mr. Sawyer.
Good morning, Mrs. Walker.
I would like to ask that you give Mr. Kringle our test, if you will.
Oh, yes. He's our Santa Claus, isn't he? And his name is Kringle. How fascinating. How do you do, Mr. Kringle?
How do you do?
I must say that's a very ingenious name to have chosen. It did get you the job, didn't it?
Or vice versa.
Right?
I'll leave you two. Will you call me later, Mr. Sawyer?
Yes, of course. Now, Mr. Kringle.
Yeah?
To start out with the test. Who was the first president of the United States?
George Washington.
How much is 3 times 5?
15.
How much did you say?
15. You're rather nervous, aren't you, Mr. Sawyer? Did you get enough sleep?
My personal habits are of no concern to you. Now, how many fingers do you see?
3. Oh, you bite your nails, too. Oh, that's often a sign of insecurity.
Kringle, you will pay attention to what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just trying to help.
I did not call you in here to help me, Kringle. I called you in here to find out about you, and I'm certainly finding out.
Did I answer the questions wrong?
I'm asking the questions, you old screwball.
I don't believe that Mrs. Walker intended me to have this kind of examination.
What? No.
I have great respect for psychiatry and great contempt for muddlers who go around practicing it.
Why, you...
Are you a licensed psychiatrist?
What? Well, that is none of your business.
I thought so. Mr. Sawyer, you are a phony. You ought to be horsewhipped.
How dare you? Now you leave this office immediately.
I shall, but before I do, you listen to this. Now, either you stop analyzing, as you call it, at once, or I'm going to tell Mr. Maisie what a contemptible, malicious fraud you are.
You get out of here before I throw you out.
I wouldn't try that.
Get out of here.
There's only one way to handle a man like you. You won't listen to reason. You're heartless. You have no humanity.
Are you going to leave?
Yes. There's only one way to handle your kind. My cane, if you please. Thank you.
Oh!
Good day, Mr. Sawyer.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, Fred.
Why did you do it?
Well, he deserved it.
Oh, I don't mean hitting Sawyer over the head. I couldn't agree with you more about that. But what you did here at Bellevue, I don't understand it.
Oh, that examination? Yes. I failed it.
Deliberately?
Yes.
Why?
Why? Well, because for the last few days I've had great hopes. I had a feeling people were beginning to believe, especially Doris. You know what happened. When I hit Sawyer, it was Doris who had me brought here to Bellevue.
Chris, let me tell you something. Doris hasn't really believed in anything for years. You can't expect her suddenly...
Well, it's not just Doris. Now, there's Mr. Sawyer. He's contemptible, selfish, deceitful, vicious, and yet he's out there and I'm in here. Now, what makes him normal? Because he conforms to a pattern. Because he thinks and acts like the great majority. So, we've got a world full of Sawyers, and if that's normal, I don't want it. No. That's why I answered the questions incorrectly.
But, Chris, you can't just think of yourself. What happens to you matters to a lot of other people. People like me who believe in what you stand for. And people like Susan who are just beginning to.
Huh?
You can't quit. You can't let them down.
No. No, I didn't think about Susan. No. You're right, Fred. Quite right. How do we get out of here?
It's not going to be easy.
Well, you've got to get me out.
All right, Chris, I'll do my best.
Oh, and while you're working on it, Fred, work on something else for me, too.
Your case is going to be a full-time job all by itself.
Yes, but you're rather fond of Doris Walker, aren't you?
I'm in love with her.
How do you think she feels about you, Fred?
I think if I could just crack that shell, maybe she'd be in love with me. If I could just get her to break down, just once.
Why don't you take her out more?
I've tried. She's too busy with her job.
Well, that's what I want you to do for me, Fred. Try a little harder. You know, those two are a couple of lost souls, and it's up to us to help them. Now, I'll take care of Susie if you'll take care of her mother.
It's good enough for me, Chris.
One more thing.
What?
Do you like living in Manhattan?
It's all right, I suppose. Of course, someday I'd like to get a house out on Long Island. Not a big place, just one of those junior partner deals around Manhattan. You know?
Yeah. Yes, I know the kind you mean.
Why?
Why what?
Well, why did you ask that?
Oh, I don't know, Fred. It just seems to me that as soon as Christmas is over every year, I get good and sick of the city, too.
Every day you hear more and more about an incredibly fast way to relieve the pains of headache, neuritis, and neuralgia. It's Anacin. A-N-A-C-I-N. Now, the reason Anacin is so wonderfully fast-acting and effective is this. Anacin is like a doctor's prescription. That is, Anacin contains not just one, but a combination of medically proven active ingredients in easy-to-take tablet form. Thousands of people have received envelopes containing Anacin tablets from their own dentist or physician, and in this way discovered the incredibly fast relief Anacin brings from the pains of headache, neuritis, or neuralgia. So the next time a headache strikes, take Anacin. A-N-A-C-I-N. Anacin in handy boxes of 12 and 30. Economical family-sized bottles of 50 and 100. Ask for Anacin at any drug counter. And now back to our story. Miracle on 34th Street, starring Edmund Gwenn. So, with Christmas right upon us, Kris Kringle is in Bellevue, with a competent authority of psychiatrists judging him insane. At any moment, papers of commitment will be put through the New York courts, which will keep Kris committed permanently. Fred Gailey has managed to file his claim for a formal hearing.
In the matter of Kris Kringle, Your Honor, the commitment papers are before you. If Your Honor please, I should like to call the first witness.
Proceed, Mr. Mara.
Mr. Kringle, will you take the stand?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Before you begin, Mr. Mara, I want to explain to the witness that this is a hearing, not a trial. Mr. Kringle, you do not have to answer any questions against your wishes or even testify at all.
We have no objection, Your Honor.
Oh, I'll be glad to answer any questions that I can.
What is your name?
Kris Kringle.
Where do you live?
Well, that's what this hearing will decide.
A very sound answer, Mr. Kringle.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you believe that you are Santa Claus?
Well, of course.
The state rests, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Gailey, do you wish to cross-examine the witness? I believe he was employed to play Santa Claus. Perhaps he did not understand the question.
Oh, I understood the question perfectly, Your Honor.
No further questions at this time.
Well, in view of the statement, do you still wish to put in defense, young man?
I do, Your Honor. I'm fully aware of my client's opinions. In fact, that's the entire case against him. All those complicated tests and reports boil down to this. Mr. Kringle is not sane because he believes himself to be Santa Claus.
An entirely logical and reasonable assumption, I'm afraid.
Well, it would be if the clerk here, or Mr. Mara, or I believed that we were Santa Claus.
Anyone who thinks he's Santa Claus is not sane.
Not necessarily. For example, Your Honor, you believe yourself to be Judge Harper. And nobody questions your sanity, Your Honor, because you are Judge Harper.
I know all about myself, young man. Mr. Crinkle is the subject of this hearing.
Yes, Your Honor. And if he is the person he believes himself to be, just as you are, then he is just the same.
Well, granted, but he isn't.
Oh, but he is, Your Honor.
Is what?
I intend to prove that Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus. Doris.
Well, hello.
I'm glad you're home.
I read the paper, Fred. You're not serious about this.
Of course I am.
But you can't possibly prove that he's Santa Claus.
Well, why not? He made Maisie and Gimble shake hands, didn't he? That was impossible, but it happened.
I'd like to know what your firm thinks about this.
They are saying that I am jeopardizing the prestige and dignity of an old established law firm. And either I drop this impossible case immediately, or they will drop me.
The old buzzards. Well, I guess that's that.
Yeah, they left me no choice. So I quit.
Fred, you didn't.
Of course I did. I can't let Chris down. He needs me, and all the rest of us need him.
Look, darling, I love Chris, too. He's a kind, wonderful old man, and I admire you for wanting to help him. But you've got to be practical. You can't throw your career away because of sentiment.
I'd like to prove something to you. And I can, too. Turn on the radio.
Why?
Because I want to show you what's happened lately with sentiment. It's become darn good business. It's all over the place. Everybody's doing it. Here it comes out. Listen.
The car of the year is a good car. Please don't misunderstand. There are many good cars. There are higher priced and lower priced. If you'll bring us an idea of your requirements, we'll tell you very honestly whether we think ours is the car for you. If not, we'll recommend cheerfully the car you should have regardless of who makes it.
Hear that? A year ago, that company would have killed themselves before okaying copy like that. And what's happening? They're doing the biggest business in their history. You can blame that on Chris.
Yes, I know.
Do you realize that a little old man that I'm defending is responsible for all those commercials? Do you know what he's done for the industry of this country? Maybe it's because public response has made it impossible for advertisers to be anything but generous, but it's his fault. He started the whole darn thing.
But you can't toss everything out the window because of a sentimental whim.
Darling, one experience doesn't make a life. You've got to have faith.
It's not a question of faith. It's just common sense, Fred.
Faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to. And I guess these last few years you've developed too much common sense.
And yet with all my common sense, I was just beginning to think it would work out for us.
So was I. But can I help you with the tree?
Thanks, I can do it.
Well, good night.
Good night.
I examine my witness, Your Honor.
Proceed, Mr. Gailey.
Thank you. What is your name, sir?
R.H. Maisie.
Mr. Maisie, if you recognize the gentleman seated over there, will you please tell us who it is?
Chris Kringle.
Your employee, is he not?
Yes.
Do you believe him to be truthful?
Yes.
You believe him to be of sound mind?
I certainly do.
Mr. Maisie, you're under oath. You really believe that this man is Santa Claus?
Well, he gives every indication.
I asked you, Mr. Maisie, do you believe that this man is Santa Claus?
I do.
That is all.
Your Honor, I object to this testimony. It's ridiculous, irrelevant, and immaterial. Mr. Gailey is making a circus out of this court. There's no such person as Santa Claus, and everybody knows it.
Your Honor, I would like to request permission for my client to answer Mr. Mara himself.
Granted.
Mr. Kringle?
Mr. Mara, I submit that what you have just said is a matter of opinion. Can you offer any proof that there is no Santa Claus?
No, I do not intend to. This is not a nursery. This is the New York State Supreme Court. I'll not waste this court's time with such childish nonsense.
Well, I don't mean to be presumptuous, but Mr. Mara seems to have appointed himself judge here, Your Honor. He's now ruling on what testimony, I am introduced.
Your Honor, I demand an immediate ruling from the court. Is there or is there not a Santa Claus?
The court will take a short recess to consider the matter. Oh, hello, darling. Have you been listening to the broadcast of the trial? Yes, I'm in my chambers. Oh, I've never been in such a dilemma. Why? Well, listen, if I go back in there and rule there is no Santa Claus, we'd both better start looking for that chicken farm right now. No, I won't even get in the primaries. What? Oh, stop. Listen, the reason I'm a responsible judge. I've taken an oath. How can I seriously rule there is a Santa Claus? What will happen? Well, I'll tell you. I rule there's no Santa Claus. The kids read about it. They don't hang up their stockings. So what happens to all the toys that were supposed to be in the stockings? Nobody buys them. You think the toy manufacturers are going to like that? So they have to lay off a lot of employees, union employees. Now you've got the CIO and the AFL against you. The department stores are going to love you, too, and the Christmas card makers, the candy companies. Oh, honey, listen, as sure as you're my wife, if I do this, I can count on getting just exactly 3 votes at the next election. Our own and that district attorney, Mara's out there. Oh, and I just happen to remember that Mara's a Republican. Well, recess is over, my sweet. Career, too, maybe. I'll call you later. Before making a ruling, this court has consulted the highest authority available. The question of Santa Claus seems to be largely a matter of opinion. Many people firmly believe in him. Others do not. American justice demands a broad and unprejudiced view of such a controversial matter. This court, therefore, intends to keep an open mind. We shall hear evidence on either side.
Your Honor, the burden of proof for this ridiculous contention clearly rests with my opponent. Can he produce any evidence to support his views?
If the court please, may my client take over for me?
Well, yes, of course.
Well, will Thomas Mara please take the stand?
Who, me?
No, Mr. Mara. Thomas Mara, Jr. Yeah. Now, Tommy, now. You know the difference between telling the truth and telling a lie, don't you?
Gosh, everybody knows you shouldn't tell a lie, especially in court.
Tell me, do you believe in Santa Claus, Tommy?
Sure I do. He gave me a brand new sled last year, and this year I wrote him that I wanted a...
And what does he look like?
You?
I object.
Overruled.
Tell me, Tommy, why are you so sure there is a Santa Claus?
Because my daddy told me so. Didn't you?
Yes, and you believe your daddy, don't you, Tommy? Huh? He's a very honest man.
Of course he is. My daddy wouldn't tell me anything that wasn't so. Would you, Daddy?
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, that's all.
Your Honor, State of New York concedes the existence of Santa Claus. But, in so conceding, we ask of Mr. Gailey and his client to cease presenting personal opinion as evidence. The state could bring in hundreds of witnesses with opposite opinions, but it's our desire to shorten the hearing rather than prolong it. I therefore demand that Mr. Gailey now submit authoritative proof that Mr. Kringle is the one and the only Santa Claus.
Your point is well taken, Mr. Mara. I'm afraid I must agree. Mr. Gailey, are you prepared to show that Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus on the basis of competent authority?
Not at this time, Your Honor. I ask for an adjournment until tomorrow. Morning, Chris.
Morning, Fred.
I'm afraid it's bad news, Chris. I've tried every way to get some competent authority. I wired the governor, the mayor.
Never mind, Fred. Now, this letter means more to me than all the governors and mayors in the world.
Who's it from?
You read it.
No time now. They're ready to start.
Well, let me read just a bit of it.
All right, go ahead.
Well, listen, Fred. And I want you to know, Mr. Kringle, that I believe all you told me and everything will turn out fine. I hope you are not sad. Yours truly, Susan. Oh, P.S. Dear Mr. Kringle, I believe in you, too. Doris.
So, our two lost souls have found themselves, huh, Chris? A little late for you, though.
Oh, I don't matter, Fred. They finally found Faith. That's really important. Here, take a look at the envelope.
Why?
Well, see how it's addressed?
Now, let me look at that.
Yeah.
Chris Kringle, New York County Courthouse, Center and Pearl Streets, New York City.
Yes, and I have two other letters from children here, Fred. That just address Santa Claus. But I got them.
Are you ready, Mr. Mara?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Gailey?
My client will speak for himself, Your Honor. I'm going to make a quick phone call, Chris.
Go ahead, son. I've got an interesting book here.
Your Honor, the defense has yet to bring in one concrete piece of evidence to substantiate this preposterous claim. Not one competent authoritative proof that this man is Santa Claus. On view of these facts, and especially since today is Christmas Eve, we're all anxious to get to our homes, I ask that you sign the commitment papers without further delay.
Mr. Kringle, haven't you anything to offer?
Yes, I have, Your Honor. I should like to submit some facts in evidence. They concern the Post Office Department, an official agency of the United States government. The Post Office Department is one of the largest business concerns in the world.
Your Honor, I'm sure we're all gratified to know that the Post Office Department is doing so nicely, but it hardly has any bearing on the case.
It may have a great deal, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Oh, yes, by all means, Mr.
Well, according to this book of regulations in my hand, the United States postal laws make it a criminal offense to willfully misdirect mail or intentionally deliver it to the wrong party. Consequently, the department uses every possible precaution.
Your Honor, the state of New York is second to none in its admiration of the Post Office Department. We're happy to concede all of Mr. Kringle's claims.
For the record?
Yes, for the record. Anything to get on with this case.
Then may I introduce these two letters as evidence, Your Honor? They are simply addressed to Santa Claus. No other address whatsoever. Yet they were delivered to me by bona fide employees of the post office. Now, could this be considered positive proof?
Two letters, Your Honor, are hardly positive proof. I understand the post office receives thousands of such letters every year.
That is true, Mr. Mara. If I may interrupt, Your Honor. I'd like to say that I have other exhibits, but I hesitate to produce them.
We'd all like to see them, I'm
Should
sure.
I get some more mail, Fred?
Just watch.
Oh.
I apologize, Your Honor, for the staggering amount of evidence necessary, but you will notice being wheeled down the aisle 9 truckloads of mail.
Oh,
Every letter on these trucks is addressed to Santa Claus. The Post Office Department has delivered them. The Post Office is a branch of the federal government. Therefore, the United States government recognizes this man, Chris Kringle, as the one and only Santa Claus.
Since the United States of America believes this man to be Santa Claus, this court will not dispute it. Case dismissed.
I got your note, Doris, in court. Made me very happy.
I'm glad, Chris.
Mm.
Making our Christmas very happy to have you with us.
I didn't get my present.
Oh, but darling, you have loads of presents.
Not the one I wanted. Not the one Mr. Kringle was going to get for me.
Well, I tried my best, Susie, but...
You couldn't get it because you're not Santa Claus, that's why.
Hmm?
You're just a nice old man with whiskers, like Mother said. And I shouldn't have believed you.
I was wrong when I told you that, darling. You must believe in Mr. Kringle. And keep right on doing it. You must have faith in him.
But, Mommy, he didn't get me the... Oh, it doesn't make sense.
Faith, darling, is believing in things when common sense tells you not to. I mean, just because things don't turn out the way you want them to the first time, you've still got to believe in people. I found that out.
You mean it's like that? If at first you don't succeed, try again?
Yes.
I thought so.
Come in.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Anybody notice they didn't get any presents from me?
I did.
Yes, I'll bet you did. And I'll bet your mother did, too, only she's too polite to mention it. Well, I've got 2 presents. One, Doris, is a little special. And it's just for you.
Oh.
It's very tiny. It's in a very tiny plush box. It's very round and filled with a lot of love.
You want me to leave?
Stay right where you are, Chris.
All right. I like it here.
I've got another present.
Where is it?
It's in my pocket on a piece of paper. It's called an option.
Well, what's an option?
Something that means that nobody else can buy this present unless I don't want it.
Do you want it?
I want it if you and Mommy want it as much as I do. Look, Susan. Here's a picture of it. It's a house.
It's my house, Mommy. It's my house. The very house I asked Mr. Kringle for.
You asked Mr. Kringle for this house?
Susie, isn't it wonderful to believe again?
Oh, I do, Mr. Kringle. I do.
So do I, Chris.
And that's the happiest Christmas that you could possibly give me.
I believe, too, Chris. You know that. Tell me something.
Oh, anything, Fred.
Who are you?
Me? I'm Kris Kringle. Bye.
Kris Kringle will return in just a moment with our guest director, George Seaton. But now, here's what happens when Bing and Bob meet on a shopping tour.
Here we go. Where you been, genius? In some corner drugstore getting your kicks at the comic book counter? No, I was at the prescription counter admiring your picture on the iodine bottle. There's a delightful picture of you on the Lydia Pinkham bottle, too. Seriously, friends, Skinflint and I, we do agree 100% on this. Chesterfield is the cigarette that everybody ought to be smoking. Right, and they will, Bob, when they find out how easy it is to prove that Chesterfields are milder. Sure, it's the easiest test in the book. Just get a hold of a pack of Chesterfields and open them, smell them, and smoke them. Compare them with the cigarettes you've been smoking, and you'll find that Chesterfields do smell milder, and they smoke mild, too.
Chesterfield, always winter slate. That milder, mild tobacco never leaves an aftertaste.
So open a pack, give them a smell.
Then you smoke them.
This Christmas, give Chesterfield Christmas cartons with Bing Crosby as Papa Santa Claus.
Next week, another great star recreates a memorable role on Screen Directors Playhouse as we present our adaptation of one of Hollywood's most unusual films. Our story will be Alias Nick Field, directed by John Farrell. And our stars will be Ray Milland and Nancy Olson. Now, here again is tonight's star, Edmund Gwenn.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Our play, you know, isn't really over. It's true, the pages of our script have been acted out, but that's scarcely the end of Kris Kringle, is it? No. Anyway, not for the 500 girls and boys in our studio audience tonight. No, and not for you either, I expect. That's because the old duffer is completely timeless. And although this particular Kris Kringle doesn't seem to have any end, he did have a beginning. Yes, he began on the screen with one of Hollywood's most brilliant writer-directors. I'd like to introduce him to you now. The creator of Miracle on 34th Street and of such other films as Apartment for Peggy, The Big Lift, George Seaton.
Thanks, Teddy. You know, we seem to be on the birth of a kind of a young tradition here.
Well, it was just a year ago, George, that we did the same show, wasn't it? With the same wonderful audience of boys and girls.
Another Screen Directors Christmas party, and Kris Kringle hasn't changed a bit.
Well, that's one of the nicest things about playing Santa Claus. The part goes on, year after year. And, of course, we actors are very fond of those kind of roles.
And directors are very fond of your kind of acting. Teddy, your performance in Miracle made a dream come true.
Oh?
Because when Valentine Davies and I started to write the screenplay, well, it's all we had to go on, a dream, an idea. Just a hope that we could capture on celluloid that thing called Christmas spirit, and Teddy, you're it.
My dear George, the way I fill a Santa Claus suit to bursting, I don't quite fancy myself as a spirit.
You're Santa Claus to the fingertips. And you've got an assignment.
What, to give a performance?
To give out the gifts that NBC is giving to these 500 youngsters.
Oh, I'll accept that assignment, yes. You'll help, Mr. Director?
I'll help, Mr. Actor.
Good. Then since I'm still Kris Kringle, I'm really the most appropriate one to wish the audience a Merry Christmas from all of us on the Screen Directors Playhouse. May it bring you the most precious gift of all, happiness. Good night.
And so ends Screen Directors Playhouse, a Thursday night feature on NBC's All-Star Festival, brought to you by RCA Victor, world leader in radio, first in recorded music and first in television, Chesterfield, the only cigarette that combines mildness with no unpleasant aftertaste, and the makers of Anacin for fast relief from the pain of headache, neuritis, and neuralgia. Miracle on 34th Street was presented through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox. Watch for Richard Widmark in the 20th Century Fox Technicolor production Halls of Montezuma. Edmund Gwenn may currently be seen in the 20th Century Fox productions Mr. 880 and For Heaven's Sake, which George Seaton has directed. Included in tonight's cast were Lorene Tuttle as Doris, David Ellis as Fred, Gail Bonney, Joan Ray, Bill Conrad, Ralph Moody, Herb Rollinson, Joel Nestor, and Jack Moyles. Miracle on 34th Street was adapted for radio by Nat Wolfe. The Screen Directors Playhouse is produced by Howard Wiley and directed by Bill Carn. This is Jimmy Wallington speaking and inviting you to listen again next Thursday when we present Ray Milland and Nancy Olson in Alias Nick Beale with Screen Director John Farrell. Listen again next week to Screen Directors Playhouse, the Thursday night feature on NBC's All-Star Festival of Comedy, Music, Mystery, and Drama. Listen tomorrow evening to the one and only Duffy's Tavern, the Friday night feature of the All-Star Festival.
Join Archie and the gang at Duffy's Tavern tomorrow night on NBC.